Chapter 390. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. This is really exciting. Night Sorrow squinted his eyes as he leaned against an ancient tree. Exciting? I'm so nervous. Nan Liue said softly. Me too. I'm worried about being pushed down by the dark zombies. That drooling guy is really disgusting. Lei Zheng said. If that happens, we should kill ourselves quickly. Otherwise, I don't dare to imagine that scene. Nan Liue exhaled and said. Don't think too much. Let's continue. I'm afraid there won't be any results today. We need to find a safe place to stay and survive tonight. Night Sorrow looked at the sky and said. As Night Sorrow waved his arm, the few of them continued to move forward. After moving forward for a while, Yun Zheng, who was in charge of observing the environment, found a suitable place to stay. It was a huge rock with 3 sides that seemed to be cut by a knife, and one side was a slope. When Night Sorrow and the others climbed up this huge rock, they were discovered by the dark creatures. As the battle continued, more and more dark creatures rushed towards this huge rock. Dark demonic wolves, dark lions, dark zombies, all kinds of dark creatures were present. There were even armored dark zombies. Then it's not a dark creature. That guy is of the death attribute. Nan Liue, who killed a dark demonic wolf with a sword, said. Love go little say W. Chu. Everyone's mood was very heavy. Darkness and death sounded very similar, but the difference was huge. The dark attribute was one of the 7 ordinary attributes. Although it was rare, it was on the same level as the other attributes. However, the death attribute was different. It was one of the 4 advanced attributes and could suppress the 7 ordinary attributes. Things seemed to be a little troublesome. Ho Jian said. Hurry up and fight. Let's settle down first. Lei Bao shouted as he fought. At this moment, there were too many dark creatures rushing towards the rock. Lei Bao, destroy this slope. If they want to attack, we have to make them jump up with effort. Don't let them attack too smoothly. Night Sorrow shouted at Lei Bao. The rock they were standing on was very large and tall. It was steep on 3 sides and sloping on one side. The dark creatures were charging up the slope. After instructing Lei Bao, Yi Shang charged forward, leaving space for Lei Bao and the others to cut off the path. After Night Sorrow rushed out, Ho Jian, Lei Bao and Lei Zheng bombarded the rocky slope. Liue, go help Night Sorrow. The 3 of us will cut off the path. Ho Jian shouted at Nan Liue, who was also going to help cut off the path. Following which, Night Sorrow and Nan Liue rushed down the slope and fought against the darkness creatures. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear was brandished and was able to attack a range of 30 to 40 feet. With Nan Liue filling in the gaps, Lei Bao and the other 2 were able to make some space. Ho Jian, Lei Bao and Lei Zheng brandished their weapons and bombarded the rocky ground, creating a large trench. Ho Jian and the others bombarded the trench as they retreated. The trench became deeper and wider. 30 feet wide is enough. You 2, come back. Ho Jian shouted at Night Sorrow and Nan Liue. The rocky slope was broken, creating a 30 feet wide trench. Ho Jian and the other 2 were so tired that their faces were covered in sweat. Liue, go back. Night Sorrow shouted at Nan Liue. Following which, he poured the energy from the myriad Dao treasured tome into his arms and used the vibration force to strike the rocky ground. You should go back too. Nan Liue's body flashed and she flew back to Ho Jian and the others. After that, Night Sorrow didn't attack the dark creatures. After forcing the dark creatures back with his reincarnation spear, he smashed down the rocky slope. Following Night Sorrow's ferocious smashing, coupled with the vibrations from the concussive force, the height of the already broken slope became lower and lower. Savage. Ho Jian shook his head. Indeed, this is too savage. Nan Liue was also deeply moved. After enduring more than 10 strikes from Night Sorrow's spear and the vibration force, the slope under his feet became lower by 1.5 feet. Following which, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear swung back and his body soared into the air, flying towards Ho Jian and the others. With a cultivation of the 4th rank, he could fly for a short period of time. Therefore, it wasn't a problem for him to cross the distance of a few feet. Night Sorrow easily arrived beside Ho Jian and the others. Let them come. If they come up, we'll just fight them down. Night Sorrow said as he shot a spear light at a dark zombie that was climbing up the slope. Waiting for them to come up is not a bad idea. Even if they can come up, it won't be easy. Lei Bao said. Following which, the 5 of them took turns on duty. One person was responsible for the safety of the rock platform while the others rested. However, Ho Jian and the others didn't let Night Sorrow do the duty. Night Sorrow just fought an intense battle and needed to rest. In addition, they also knew that Night Sorrow needed to maintain his peak condition. Night Sorrow didn't argue and immediately sat down to recover. He didn't consume much energy today, but he felt a little tired after being tense for so long. Damn, flying demonic beasts. After resting for 2 hours, Lei Bao, who was in charge of the duty, shouted. It was the 3rd-rank dark vultures that were attacking. There were hundreds of them. Tianyu, go and kill them for me. However, don't go too far. Night Sorrow waved his arm and released Tianyu. After Tianyu let out a cry, he charged towards the dark vultures in the sky. With a flap of his wings, no vultures could get close to him. On the other hand, his pair of green gold claws and beak were killing weapons. The dark vultures that were attacked by him would all face death. Tianyu had the ability to fight above his level, not to mention these dark vultures that had yet to reach tier 4. The dark vultures were unable to break through his defense. On Night Sorrow's side, the reincarnation spear executed the 7 stars brilliant moon spear art and annihilated the dark vultures that were attacking the platform. The dark vulture's combat power wasn't that great, but it wasn't afraid of death. It attacked Tianyu and Rock. These disgusting bastards are really going all out. Lei Bao cursed as he fought. Nan Liu said, the blood and flesh energy in our bodies are nourishment to them. They are very attractive to them. The battle lasted for an hour before it ended. All of the dark vultures had been killed. Yang along, free of charge, Z look at percent small. Say Z/Tianyu spun and landed beside Night Sorrow. I wonder if it'll be quiet at night. After feeding Tianyu a beast pill, Night Sorrow muttered softly. At this moment, the sky had already turned completely dark. Night Sorrow, hurry up and rest. You're the main force. If your condition isn't good, we won't be able to hold on. Ho Jian said. F***ck, look at what this is. At this moment, Lei Zheng screamed. The few of them went to Lei Zheng's side. Without Lei Zheng's guidance, the few of them saw what was going on. Under the platform, there were densely packed black spiders. Run! Lei Bao's expression changed. The densely packed black spiders were too terrifying. F***ck, watch me. Nan Liu cursed. She slapped out with her palms and red flames rushed towards the bottom of the platform. Nan Liu moved as she attacked, covering the bottom of the platform with flames. What kind of martial art is this? Lei Bao asked. With my southernly fire body as the foundation, the Li fire palm is executed. It doesn't have much effect in battle, but it can still burn these disgusting bugs to death. Nan Liu said. Chapter 391. A genius remembers love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow, be careful. It's a Type 5 Dark Spider King. Ho Jian shouted from behind. He discovered that the cultivation base of this dark spider had already reached the void inquiry stage. In fact, even without Ho Jian's reminder, Night Sorrow already knew that this dark spider was terrifying. After all, it was on a completely different level from the small spiders below. Night Sorrow's true chi exploded, and the reincarnation spear executed the 7 stars brilliant moon spear technique. The 4 spears combined into one and pierced out. Following that, the myriad Tao Tome's energy followed closely behind with the vibration force. Creak. Night Sorrow's 4 spear auras combined into one was blocked by the spider's 4 sharp claws, which issued an ear-piercing sound of friction. However, the spider's claws were also deeply cut. At this moment, the energy of the myriad Tao Tome in Night Sorrow's body entered the tip of the spear. Following which, an intense vibration shook off the claws of the Dark Spider King. After shaking off the Dark Spider King's sharp claws, Night Sorrow quickly thrust his reincarnation spear forward. Immediately after, the true chi that entered the reincarnation spear once again displayed the spiraling energy. Chi. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear, which had an extremely strong penetrating power, directly pierced into the Dark Spider King's chest. Night Sorrow's body moved forward and his right hand continued to push forward, allowing the reincarnation spear to stay in the body of the Dark Spider King that was retreating. Following that, the energy of the myriad Tao Tome burst forth into the tip of the spear, causing an intense vibration force to erupt. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao say www.aichuxs. Kampa. Pa. Pa. A series of explosions rang out from the Dark Spider King's body. The Dark Spider King's internal organs and tendons were all shattered. Soon after, it swayed a few times on Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear before it stopped moving. This plaything looks ferocious, but its strength isn't all that great. Lei Jing spoke up. Nothing much? If I let you try, you probably won't even be able to break through my defenses. Nan Liyue looked at Lei Jing with disdain. Night Sorrow, you switched between the 2 types of energy and the 2 types of energy too quickly. This guy couldn't withstand it. Otherwise, this Dark Spider King would have been very difficult to kill. Love go little say Ku Ho Jian said. Look, the little spiders have all retreated. They must have sensed that the Spider King is dead, Nan Liyue said. I hope it will be quiet for the rest of the night, Yishan said. What followed was true silence. No more dark creatures appeared. After a night's rest, Night Sorrow stood up when the sun rose. When Night Sorrow stretched his waist, the others also stopped meditating. Are you all ready? Once you're ready, we'll set off. It's inevitable that there will be a fierce battle today. I wonder what will happen after we cross this mountain, Night Sorrow said. After listening to Night Sorrow's words, Ho Jian and the others nodded. When Lei Hua appointed Night Sorrow as the captain, they agreed because of their friendship. Now, they were truly convinced. After a day of cooperation, Ho Jian and the others knew that Night Sorrow was not only strong in combat, but also extremely calm. There was no problem in commanding the entire situation. Remember my words. If you can fight, fight. If you can't, run. After saying that, Night Sorrow leaped into the air and gently landed on the ground. Then, he moved towards the mountain. Ho Jian and the others followed closely behind Night Sorrow. When a dark beast appeared to block the way, Night Sorrow directly shot the sky-piercing spear. After advancing for a while, Night Sorrow and the others arrived at the foot of the mountain. As long as they started climbing the mountain, they would only be attacked by flying demonic beasts. However, they met a tiger blocking their path. It was a dark cultivator. What was different from ordinary people was that it had 2 horns and black scales on its face. A half-transformed dark flood dragon. Nan Liyue said to Night Sorrow. Yishang stared at the half-transformed dark jiao. The cultivation base of this half-transformed dark jiao was higher than theirs. It already had half a foot in the void inquiry stage. While Night Sorrow was observing, the dark flood dragon charged towards Night Sorrow. In each of its hands, there was a pair of short thorns. The short thorns emitted a faint light that made people's hearts tremble. You guys go up the mountain and wait for me at the cliff. Night Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear and rushed towards the dark flood dragon. Night Sorrow, be careful. Its weapons are the fangs that it has before its transformation. They are highly poisonous. Nan Liue took a few steps back and said. At this moment, Night Sorrow was already fighting against the half-transformed Dark Flood Dragon using his 7-star Brilliant Moon Spear technique. The Dark Flood Dragon was very strong. However, strength was Night Sorrow's forte. It did not have any advantage at all. On the other hand, Night Sorrow's combat skills were not something that the Dark Flood Dragon could compare to. It was suppressed by Night Sorrow and was forced to retreat. In less than half the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the Dark Flood Dragon's head was pierced through by Night Sorrow's spear. Night Sorrow stepped forward and kept the 2 short thorns of the Dark Flood Dragon. Then, he casually cut off its 2 horns and crystal core and kept them in his storage ring. These were all good materials for refining treasures. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, why aren't you guys leaving? Night Sorrow looked at them and asked. I don't have the habit of leaving my brothers behind. Lei Bao said. Night Sorrow, we are a team. Although we are not strong enough, I, Ho Jian, will not run away first. Ho Jian said. Nan Liue also smiled, although I am a woman, I have a code of brotherhood. I know you guys are loyal, but you still have to pay attention to your safety. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then, they began to climb the mountain. The mountain wall was really steep. They all used their auxiliary weapons to climb the mountain wall. Night Sorrow let out Tianyu and stood guard behind them. He was afraid that a flying demonic beast would appear, and he was also afraid that someone would accidentally fall. Fortunately, it was still safe. They climbed for more than 2 hours and did not encounter any demonic beasts. Even if there were poisonous insects, they could deal with them with their alchemic fire. Soon, they were not far from the mountain peak. At this time, Night Sorrow and the rest were very cautious. No one knew what was going on at the top of the mountain and the opposite side of the mountain. When they were about 20 feet away from the mountain peak, Night Sorrow stopped climbing and waited for the others to come up behind him. You guys wait here. I will go up and take a look first. When I call for you guys go up. If I tell you to run, just ride your flying demonic beast and run. Don't say anything else. Night Sorrow said to them. They did not say anything and only nodded. They knew that if they refuted at this time, Night Sorrow would not be happy. Then, Night Sorrow continued to climb. 20 feet was nothing in Night Sorrow's eyes. The main thing was that he had climbed Danding Cliff too many times and was already used to it. Standing on the mountain peak, Night Sorrow saw the situation on the opposite side. This sight made Night Sorrow's scalp tingle. In his line of sight, there were densely packed dark creatures. There were all kinds of demonic beasts, humanoid dark zombies, and dark zombies. In a place a little further away, Night Sorrow saw rolling black clouds rising from the ground. It was a dense dark energy. The rolling black clouds dyed the sky an oppressive black color. Night Sorrow came to the mountain wall and waved at them. After a while, they all came to the top of the cliff. Chapter 392. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's the source of this incident. Because of the mountain, we can't see it from other places. We only know that the dark energy in the air is very dense. Night Sorrow said. But we can't go over. If we want to kill our way over, we won't be able to do it even if we tire ourselves to death. Ho Jian shook his head. But if we don't go over, we won't know what's going on. It won't be easy to report back. Lei Bao frowned. First release of CS version, let's calm down first. There will be a solution to this. Night Sorrow closed his eyes and thought about possible solutions. He didn't want to retreat just like that. Since he was here, he had to investigate clearly. Otherwise, it would be equivalent to giving up halfway. But the mountain was densely packed with dark beasts. If they didn't fight back, they wouldn't be able to kill them all. It was equivalent to a dead end. Night Sorrow was thinking, and so were the others. They were all thinking of a solution. None of them were people who would give up so easily. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow exhaled and looked at the other four. You guys wait for me here. I'll go take a look. Night Sorrow, are you courting death? There are so many dark beasts and flying beasts. If we're discovered and surrounded, we'll die. Nan Liue said with her eyes wide open. I've thought about it. I don't know what level the dark beasts on the ground are, but the ones in the sky are all around rank 3. There are only a few rank 4 ones. My Tianyu is very fast. If I don't fight, I'll just go and investigate. If I can catch up, I'll kill them with my sky-piercing spear. After investigating, I'll run. It shouldn't be too dangerous. Night Sorrow said. At the same time, he took out 2 sky-piercing spears and tied them to the ice Jiao tendon. But it's still too dangerous. Ho Jian said. It's fine. You guys wait for me here. Also, clear out a territory. This area is too small. If a battle happens, there won't be a place to stand. Don't tell me I'll be forced to jump off the cliff. After Yi Shan finished speaking, he released Tianyu. His body flashed and landed on Tianyu's back. Then, he charged towards the black clouds. At this moment, Tianyu was flying at high speed. Before the dark flying creatures could surround him, Tianyu had shaken them off. Alright, let's get to work. Night Sorrow is right. This place isn't safe and we need to clean it up. Otherwise, if we are discovered by the darkness demonic beasts, we won't even have a place to stand, Ho Jian said. Night Sorrow held the reincarnation spear in his right hand and the sky-piercing spear with the ice dragon tendon tied to it in his left hand. He controlled Tianyu to fly rapidly towards the place where the black clouds were rising. Love Go Little Say Tianyu's speed was fast, but the dark flying demonic beasts behind him didn't give up on chasing him. Night Sorrow controlled Tianyu to fly in front while the dark flying demonic beasts chased him from behind. Night Sorrow looked back and discovered that there were rank 4 demonic beasts among the pursuing dark flying demonic beasts. However, their speed couldn't be compared to Tianyu's. Night Sorrow immediately felt relieved. He controlled Tianyu to continue charging towards the place where the black clouds were rising. He had to see the situation of the black clouds, which was the place where the black energy was rising. Tianyu's speed was extremely fast. Soon, he was close to the place where the black clouds were rising. Night Sorrow lowered his head and saw a scene that made his scalp tingle. It was a huge and deep pit that couldn't be seen through. The deep pit was pitch black, like the mouth of a huge beast that wanted to devour people. In the middle of the black pit, the dark energy was constantly rushing upwards like smoke signals. At the edge of the black pit, dark demonic beasts were climbing outwards. Tianyu quickly swept past this area. Wanting to take a closer look, Night Sorrow commanded Tianyu to fly in a circle. He had to shake off the dark flying demonic beasts behind him that couldn't be seen through. Only then would he be able to return to the top of the black pit again. Baidu search AI Go female sign Shao say www.aichuxs. Tianyu flew in a big circle, shaking off the pursuing flying demonic beasts and returning to the top of the black hole. After carefully observing again, Night Sorrow felt that this was a large crypt or a different space. If he didn't go in, he wouldn't be able to get detailed information. He immediately planned to leave. Go in? He didn't have the ability to do so. Night Sorrow controlled Tianyu to fly diagonally, flying at the fastest speed possible. With Tianyu's acceleration, the demonic beasts behind him were shaken off. Only a few dark flying creatures that had just taken off were chasing after him. Seeing that he had shaken off the pursuing demonic beasts, Night Sorrow rushed towards the rendezvous point. After scouting enough, they could leave. When they reached the top of the mountain, which was the rendezvous point, Night Sorrow's expression changed. Ho Jian and the others were already surrounded and attacked by dark demonic beasts. There were even flying demonic beasts in the air. One of them was an early stage rank 5 dark feathered eagle. This made it impossible for Hou Jian and the others to escape even if they wanted to. If they released their flying mounts, they wouldn't be able to break through the encirclement of the dark creatures. They wouldn't be able to get to the back of the flying demonic beasts. In addition, there were flying demonic beasts in the air. Even if they released their rank 3 flying mounts, they would still be besieged. This is crazy. Captain just left for a while and we're already in such a sorry state. We're going to be killed here. Lei Zheng cursed. We have cultivation, but our combat strength is not enough. Don't talk about fighting like Night Sorrow. Nan Liyue was also depressed because if this continued, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long. They were fighting with all their strength and didn't notice that Night Sorrow had returned. Seeing such a situation, Night Sorrow frowned. He could easily leave, but it would be more difficult to save them. Hou Jian and the others had attracted too many dark demonic beasts to besiege them. There were 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside. But Yi Shang couldn't just abandon them and leave by himself. He roared at Tianyu and ordered Tianyu to fight the rank 5 dark feathered eagle. Night Sorrow floated down from Tianyu's back and landed in front of Hou Jian and the others. Night Sorrow, you know that it's hard for us to escape. Why did you come down? Lei Bao, who had already prepared to die, roared when he saw Night Sorrow return. Don't say anything. You don't have to care about me. Retreat to the back and let the flying demonic beasts escape. Lei Zheng, you go first. When you reach the sea, release the ship and control the defensive crystal to support everyone. Night Sorrow swung his reincarnation spear and forced the dark creatures to retreat. The sky-piercing spear with ice dragon tendons in his left hand also shot out towards the flying demonic beasts in the sky. He wanted to provide space for Tianyu to fight. Under the protection of the others, Lei Jing released his Thunderbird and flashed onto its back. At this moment, Hou Jian's shoulder was hit by a dark demonic tiger's claw. Hou Jian's chi shield was shattered and a trace of red appeared at the corner of his mouth. Next, Nan Liyue, retreat. Night Sorrow ordered again. I'm not leaving. If we leave together. Nan Liyue roared. I told you to leave, so leave. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Night Sorrow turned around and roared. As he turned around, Night Sorrow's waist was hit by a dark python's tail, causing him to stagger. Biting her lips, Nan Liyue took the opportunity to release her mount. She flashed onto her mount and flew towards the back of the mountain to meet up with Lei Zheng. Next, Hou Jian, let's go. Night Sorrow shouted. Chapter 393. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Shao. We provide you with interesting novels to read. The moment Hou Jian got on his flying mount, a darkness panther leapt towards his back. Night Sorrow turned around and shot, killing the darkness panther. However, because he couldn't dodge in time, his back was slapped by a darkness zombie, causing him to stagger. Baidu search love go female sign Shao Shua www.aichux. This caused Hou Jian, who was controlling his flying mount to leave, to turn around and look at the scene. Fortunately, Night Sorrow stood firm and continued to fight, causing Hou Jian to give up on the idea of returning to fight. Tianyu flapped his wings in the air, constantly finding gaps to fight with the other flying monsters. Although the pressure was great, and the danger was great, he was temporarily safe. Lei Bao, the chances of you leaving are much smaller. If we die here, then it's my fault as a brother. Baidu search love go female sign Shao Shua www.aichux.com. Night Sorrow said while shooting. I'm very happy that you didn't let me leave first. This proves that you treat me as a brother. Fighting side by side with a brother, I can die without regrets. Lei Bao said while swinging his heavy sword. Haha. Good brother, thank you for understanding me. Retreat towards the edge of the cliff and take the opportunity to run. Night Sorrow said with a laugh. All right. I won't be pretentious. If I have the chance, I will run. I believe that you will run too. If I don't see you in 4 hours, then I will come back and use my life to prove our brotherhood. Baidu search love go female sign xiao shua www.aichux.com Lei Bao said. Night Sorrow and Lei Bao retreated as they fought, and soon reached the edge of the cliff. Lei Bao, release the Thunderbird first and let it reach the bottom of the cliff. Then you jump towards the cliff. This way you have a better chance. Night Sorrow's myriad Tao Tome's energy and innate chi burst forth. He flashed and stood in front of Lei Bao, blocking all the dark demonic beasts and giving Lei Bao a chance to escape. Lei Bao's movements were also very fast. After releasing the Thunderbird, he immediately rushed over and grabbed the Thunderbird's neck. Then, he rolled onto the Thunderbird's back and controlled it to leave. Seeing that Lei Bao had successfully escaped, Night Sorrow felt a little more at ease. His left hand continued to throw the sky-piercing spear, helping Tianyu to resolve the crisis. At the same time, his mind was quickly thinking of a way to escape. He knew that he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Right now, more than half of the true Qi and the myriad Tao Tome's energy had been consumed. At the same time, Tianyu's energy was also greatly depleted. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow raised his protective shield. After launching the sky-piercing spear, he leaped into the air and launched the 7 stars glorious moon spear at the rank 5 dark-feathered eagle, ignoring the attacks of the other demonic beasts. At the same time, he ordered Tianyu to avoid the attacks of the other flying demonic beasts and fly down the cliff. The dark-feathered eagle's attack power was average, but its speed was extremely fast. Night Sorrow had launched the sky-piercing spear at it a few times, but it had dodged them all. At the moment, it was Tianyu's biggest threat. Facing Night Sorrow's 7 stars glorious moon spear attack, the dark-feathered eagle flapped its wings and dodged in a flash. However, because it dodged, the crisis of Tianyu being entangled in battle was resolved by Night Sorrow. After resolving the crisis of being entangled in battle, Tianyu flew down the cliff. Night Sorrow helped Tianyu to resolve the crisis, but he himself wasn't in a good situation. He was attacked by more than 10 dark creatures. The continuous attacks shattered Night Sorrow's protective barrier. Following that, the beast's jaws, claws, and even the zombie's palms greeted Night Sorrow's body, sending Night Sorrow's attacks flying. Night Sorrow, who was sent flying, was heavily injured even with the protection of the myriad Daos Tome. Both his arms, waist, and legs were covered in wounds. In Chapter 5a, Section Yi. Night Sorrow, who was sent flying, fell down the cliff. However, Tianyu, who was already at the bottom of the cliff, accelerated and caught Night Sorrow. Don't care about anything else, run. Night Sorrow shouted at Tianyu. Using injuries to exchange for a chance to escape was Night Sorrow's idea and purpose. Now that he had achieved his goal, what else could he do other than run? Night Sorrow, who sat up, first consumed a drop of origin spiritual liquid. Then, he crawled to the front of Tianyu's neck. With a flip of his body, he went below Tianyu's head and fed Tianyu a drop of origin spiritual liquid. After that, he returned to Tianyu's back. After consuming the origin spiritual liquid, Night Sorrow and Tianyu quickly recovered to their peak condition. Sitting on Tianyu's back, Night Sorrow checked the injuries on his body. Then, he looked at the dark-feathered eagle that was chasing after them. The dark-feathered eagle's cultivation base was at the void inquiry stage. In other words, it had just advanced to the 5th grade. Its speed was extremely fast and was on par with Tianyu. However, Night Sorrow was not afraid. As long as they were not surrounded, being chased by this dark-feathered eagle would not be fatal. Very soon, Night Sorrow and Tianyu arrived at the shore. At this moment, Ho Jian and the others were already inside the ship. They did not activate the ship's defenses. Instead, they stood on the ship and fought against the flying demonic beasts while waiting for Night Sorrow. The strength of the crystal defensive barrier of the ship was very high. Even a mid-5th grade demonic beast would not be able to break it. Now, they did not activate the defensive barrier because they were waiting for Night Sorrow. Don't worry about me. I still have a ship. I just want to take care of this thing that is chasing after me. If it continues to chase after us, I will definitely take care of it. Night Sorrow shouted at Ho Jian and the others. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Lei Jing shrunk back into the ship and activated the energy barrier. Then, crackling sounds could be heard. It was the sound of the dark flying demonic beasts attacking the crystal barrier. However, it was all in vain as they could not break the defense of the energy barrier. After the ship was activated, its speed increased. The flying demonic beasts could not keep up with them and were shaken off by the ship. The dark-feathered eagle chased after Tianyu. When it reached the sky above the realm sea, something happened. Not to mention increasing its speed, it could no longer continue the chase. Its body began to shake and fall. It was the energy of the realm sea and the energy vortex in the sky that attacked its spirit sea. At this moment, Night Sorrow's interest was piqued. He threw the ship in his hand into the sea, at the place where the dark-feathered eagle fell. After the dark-feathered eagle landed on the ship, Night Sorrow ordered Tianyu to intercept the other flying demonic beasts. Then, he flashed and landed on the ship. If you want to live, you have to submit to me. Otherwise, even if I don't kill you, you won't be able to live. Even if you live, your foundation will be destroyed. Think about it yourself. Night Sorrow said to the dark-feathered eagle. Night Sorrow was very interested in the dark-feathered eagle. The dark-feathered eagle's attack power was not high, but speed was its forte. Night Sorrow did not need to change his Tianyu. He could not change his Sikong Chuyu's Fire Phoenix. However, Yang Lei's Azure Condor could not keep up with the pace. Its speed and fighting power were not good enough. Looking at Night Sorrow, the dark-feathered eagle's black eyes were filled with ferocity. What? Not convinced? Then just wait for the heaven and earth energy here to shatter your deity ocean. Yishan said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the dark-feathered eagle's body trembled. I know you can understand me. Dying like this is meaningless. Why don't you come with me? The outside world is still very big. I admire you. Night Sorrow said. Hearing Yishan's words, the dark-feathered eagle opened its eyes. Its eyes were filled with pain and hesitation. Chapter 394. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Looking at Night Sorrow's hand, the dark-feathered eagle hesitated for a moment and knocked its head against Night Sorrow's palm. I asterisk the only genuine LW, NQ it. It's all pirated. Night Sorrow took out a blank beast taming crystal and stored the dark-feathered eagle into the beast taming space. Tianyu, go. Night Sorrow entered the ship and did not activate the protective shield. He directly inserted the spirit stones and drove the ship to chase after Ho Jian and the others. After Tianyu killed the dark vulture, he turned around and chased after Night Sorrow, leaving the flying Yao beasts behind him. Soon, Night Sorrow caught up with Ho Jian and the others. After retrieving the Tianyu and the ship, Night Sorrow flashed into Ho Jian's ship, which had already activated the crystal shield. Seeing Night Sorrow enter the ship, Lei Zheng activated the crystal shield, adjusted the direction, and continued forward. Captain, are you all right? Ho Jian asked. They're all external wounds. There's just some corpse poison, but it's not a big problem. Night Sorrow took out a detoxification pill and swallowed it. Let's skip the pleasantries. I, Ho Jian, owe you my life. Ho Jian cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow. Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's drink, it's so tiring. Night Sorrow took out a wine jar, poured himself a bowl of wine, and drank it all in one gulp. Love go little Sei Ku, how did you escape from the Type 5 dark-feathered eagle? Lei Bao asked. It didn't escape, I just caught it. My 9th senior sister's mount isn't very good, this one suits her very well, Night Sorrow said. Caught? I'm speechless. He caught a rank 5 dark-feathered eagle just like that. I'm convinced. There's nothing else to say. Lei Bao patted his head and said. Mission complete. Lei Zheng, open up the shield. I'm going to change my clothes. I'm just a piece of cloth, Night Sorrow said with a smile as he looked at his clothes. I'll turn around, you can deal with it. We're not going to argue about this. Nan Liue turned around and said. Night Sorrow was not pretentious. He took off all his clothes, leaving only his shorts on. He let Lei Bao apply some medicine on his shoulder and back. Then, he changed into a clean set of clothes and casually threw the tattered clothes out through the gap in the crystal shield that Lei Zheng had opened. Lei Zheng, control the direction and speed well. That way, we can calculate the direction and distance accurately, Night Sorrow shouted to Lei Zheng. Don't worry, Captain. I'll take care of this. Lei Zheng nodded to Night Sorrow. His feelings towards Night Sorrow had changed. He was very grateful to Night Sorrow for taking care of him. This mission is really tiring. I wonder how Tianji Tower and the City Lord's mansion will deal with this. Night Sorrow said as he drank a mouthful of wine. Captain, what's the situation over there? Nan Liue asked. It's a huge black hole. It's so dark inside that we can't see anything clearly. There's dark energy rolling in the middle and dark monsters climbing around it. Night Sorrow said. Then it could be a huge cave, a different space, or a spatial crack. Ho Jian thought for a moment and said. Just as I thought. It must be a special space. The area will be very large. Night Sorrow nodded. The mission was over. Although Night Sorrow felt relieved, he was also worried about the situation. There were too many dark creatures, and there were also zombies and zombies with death attributes. It was very difficult to deal with. It was a huge crisis. Captain, are you worried? Nan Liue asked Night Sorrow. Yes. We're considered the stronger group of Stage 4 experts. If we can't do it, who knows how many cultivators will die in the future? Night Sorrow sighed. Captain, you're thinking too much. The Venerable can't come out to investigate because he has to avoid the intersection of the realms sea and the sky. He has to fly at high altitudes, and he can't see the situation in the realm sea. This time, we have the direction and distance, which is equivalent to positioning. The Venerable can directly fly to the island to solve the problem. So, there's nothing for us to do, Ho Jian said. Now, Ho Jian and the others were calling Night Sorrow Captain. They were sincerely convinced. Night Sorrow really did a good job as a captain. He did what he should and shouldn't do. That's true. I'm not smart enough. If the Venerable can reach, then there's no problem. I was worried for nothing. After hearing Ho Jian's explanation, Night Sorrow felt a lot better. In the future, we'll form an adventure team. We'll go to other regions in the future anyway, Nan Liue said. Okay. I agree, Ho Jian said. We brothers have no objections. This matter is settled then, Lei Bao said. He could represent Lei Zheng. While Night Sorrow and the others were rushing to Waterfront City, Lei Hu came to Wu Lingfei's cultivation area. Lei Hu reported Night Sorrow's situation. It was about Night Sorrow opening his spirit sea and the defense inside. Hearing Lei Hua's words, Wu Lingfei stood up. Opening his spirit sea. Opening his spirit sea at the 4th stage. It seems that his body refining cultivation technique is very powerful. This is understandable. With your cultivation, it's hard to explain why you were injured. This subordinate has seen a soul defense spirit weapon. It can't hurt this subordinate. However, when this subordinate was investigating Night Sorrow's spirit sea, the soul force I released was directly scattered. This subordinate withdrew it in time. Otherwise, this subordinate would have been seriously injured. Lei Hu bowed and said. According to what you said, he injured you when he was in a relaxed state. There should be something special in his spirit sea that can defend itself. This thing's level is very high. As for how high it is, it's hard to estimate. Let's wait for him to come back first. Wu Lingfei said. Yes. Lei Hua nodded. Night Sorrow and the others drove the ship towards Waterfront City. They ignored the dark creatures floating on the surface of the sea. As long as the root of the problem was solved, these dark creatures wouldn't be a threat to the eastern Xian region. They wouldn't even be able to break through Waterfront City. The feeling of escaping from death is really good, Ho Jian said as he drank. Haha. It's really exciting. When you guys ran, I thought I would die with the captain. I didn't expect that I wouldn't be injured at all. I, Lei Bao, am back full of energy. Lei Bao patted his chest and said. That's because the captain risked his life to save us. If the captain didn't land, we would have been torn to pieces by those disgusting things. Nan Liue looked at Night Sorrow and nodded gratefully. Didn't you recognize me as a friend? Yes. Then there's no need to be so polite. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Now I understand why the captain is so much stronger than us even though we have the same cultivation. It's just like the elders of our Southern Dipper sect said. The captain's cultivation is completely obtained through killing. Nan Liue looked at Night Sorrow and said. Captain, when we go back, you gave 9th senior sister a 5th stage mount. She will definitely be overjoyed. Lei Zheng said with a smile. Chapter 395. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We will provide you with interesting novels to read. I'm sorry about that. My 9th senior sister's mount is a little bad, so she needs to change. When we catch a suitable mount, we will give it to you. Love go little say, Chu Night Sorrow said with a smile. Captain, I don't believe your words. Do you think a good mount is a rotten vegetable? Do you think you can pick it up and catch it as you please? Nan Liue said with a smile. It's true. When Lei Bao and I went to the alternate dimension, I caught a rank 3, level 6 tiger eagle that hasn't reached adulthood yet. I gave it to a friend in Medicine Valley. Didn't I catch a good mount this time? Night Sorrow said with a smile. All right. Captain, you are mighty. The three of you listen up. In the future, when Captain has a good mount, I will go first. If I don't want it, then you can snatch it, Nan Liue said. Why? Ho Jian looked at Nan Liue with dissatisfaction. Because I'm a woman? Nan Liue stared at Ho Jian and said. Okay. Ho Jian turned his head. He knew that there was no chance of winning if he bickered with Nan Liue. Our Thunderbird still has potential, so we don't need to change it, Lei Bao shook his head and said. The few of them chatted and laughed, and they returned to Linhai City in a day. Love go little say, Chu. When they reached the coastline, Night Sorrow and the others realized that the situation was different from a few days ago. The city guards and cultivators of Linhai City had completely sealed off the coastline. Night Sorrow and the others put on their masks and left the ship. After keeping the ship, Lei Zheng handed the bracelet to Night Sorrow. Sirs, this subordinate is the law enforcer of the Celestial Terminus Tower's Waterfront City branch. The higher-ups have ordered you to report directly to Dongxian City upon your return. A man walked up to Yi Shang and the others and bowed. Okay. Night Sorrow nodded. After returning to Waterfront City, the man arranged for them to return to Dongxian City via a transportation array without paying any spirit stones. Because they were wearing masks, it was not appropriate for them to release their flying demonic beasts to swagger through the city. Therefore, they took a beast carriage to Tianji Tower. When the staff of Tianji Tower saw that they were wearing masks, they quickly bowed and led Night Sorrow and the others to a private room. Then, they went to inform the higher-ups. Soon, Lei Hua, Ho Yuan, and Yin Shui arrived at the private room. Night Sorrow and the others also took off their masks. What's the situation? Have you investigated it thoroughly? Lei Hua asked after sitting down. Night Sorrow and the others recounted the results of their investigation, as well as the location and distance of the Dark Island. That's right, this is your mission reward. Everyone has 2 bottles of Spirit Spring liquid. Night Sorrow, Ho Jian, and Nan Liua are all at the peak of the fourth order, but don't be in a hurry to break through. The spirit spring liquid can be used after the fifth order. Lei Hua took out a few jade bottles and gave them to everyone. Only G1E genuine version L, and his carrot B he is all C. Yes, ex-pirate are, also, don't leave Dongxian City. There might be other missions, Lei Hua continued. I need to say something to all of you. Just find the place. Why do you need to take such a big risk? You are all Tianji Tower's elites. We can't afford to lose you, Yin Shui said to them. That's right. As long as we know the location, someone will take care of the rest. You really shouldn't take such a risk. Remember that in the future, Lei Hua said. Division Master, these are the wristbands for the ships. Knight Sorrow handed 2 wristbands to Lei Hua. You guys go and rest. If you don't want to go to the inn, then go to Knight Sorrow's place for a few days. Knight Sorrow, leave with me for a while. Lei Hua stood up and said. You're reading on novel full thanks. Lei Hua stood up and said. Then, Lei Hua took Knight Sorrow to Wu Lingfei's cultivation place and reported about the Black Island. Then you and Ho Yuan go and take a look. Be careful, Wu Lingfei said. After receiving the order, Lei Hua left. It's a good thing that you've opened up your spirit sea, but it's also very important whether it's perfect or not. Lei Hua told me about your situation. The treasure in your spirit sea must be kept a secret. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome, Wu Lingfei said. Junior understands. Knight Sorrow nodded. At the current stage, you have to focus on cultivating your bloodline talent. You have to dig out your bloodline talent. A cultivator's trump card is very important. It's the key to saving your life and turning the tables, Wu Lingfei said. Recently, the second energy point has been showing signs of activity. It shouldn't be long before it can be activated. Senior, keep this interspatial bracelet well. Knight Sorrow handed the bracelet back to Wu Lingfei. You have to study the treasure in your spirit sea more. It's rare for a treasure to have its own consciousness. It's even rarer for it to be able to injure Lei Hua. If you can study it, you'll have more ways to protect yourself, Wu Lingfei reminded Knight Sorrow. Thank you for your guidance, Senior. Knight Sorrow nodded. Don't be nervous. Sit down and talk. In public, I'm your superior. In private, we can be considered friends. Wu Lingfei waved her hand at Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow nodded and sat down on the rock behind him. I hope you can agree to one thing, Wu Lingfei said. Senior, please speak, Knight Sorrow said. You're from the Grand Pure Region's Night Moon Dynasty. I can confirm this, but I still hope you can treat the Eastern Xian region as your home. Wu Lingfei looked at Knight Sorrow with her beautiful eyes. Knight Sorrow can do that. Please rest assured, Senior. Knight Sorrow got up and bowed to Wu Lingfei. Sit down. We can chat casually. I'll just complain to you. Wu Lingfei waved her hand at Knight Sorrow. Senior can do as you wish. Junior will listen. Knight Sorrow took out a jar of wine and handed it to Wu Lingfei. Holding the jar of wine in her right hand, Wu Lingfei touched her golden mask with her left hand. After thinking for a while, she waved her left hand and took off the golden mask. Beautiful. Her beauty was suffocating, cold, and inviolable. It was as beautiful as a poem. She had a perfect oval face and sparkling eyes. When she looked around, people couldn't look straight at her. I've never shown my true face to anyone. You're the first. Wu Lingfei opened the jar and poured herself a bowl of wine. Knight Sorrow stood up, extremely shocked. He was actually the first person to see Wu Lingfei's true face. Sit down. Because you're young, you don't understand anything. So I don't have any scruples speaking in front of you. The overall level of the Eastern Xian region's cultivators is low. I've been holding them back all these years, not letting the other 8 regions invade. I've been very tired. But your appearance has given me hope. Wu Lingfei took a sip of wine and said. Senior's words are too serious. The Eastern Xian region has Senior Leihua, Senior Inshua, and the others. Junior is just a small soldier charging through the enemy lines. Night Sorrow stood up and said, "You don't understand. When there are many experts, it will create a situation where there are many people. But to decide the outcome of a war, that's something only top experts can do. But in you, I see hope. Of course, you still have a long way to go." Wu Lingfei sighed and said, "Junior will definitely work hard and won't let Senior down." Night Sorrow could feel the expectation in Wu Lingfei's eyes. Chapter 396. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow nodded as he pondered. He didn't think too much about it, he just wanted to make the best use of his time to increase his cultivation. Wu Lingfei took a sip of wine and said, "You have great potential. Once you improve your cultivation, you will be invincible among your peers. If there is anything you don't understand in the future, or if you need my help, just come and find me." Night Sorrow is really grateful for Senior's care. "If there's anything Senior needs Night Sorrow to do, please let me know," Night Sorrow said. "How about this, you don't have to call me Senior. Just call me Aunt Fei from now on, and I will call you by your name." Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. "Auntie Fei." Yi Shang bowed to Wu Ling concubine. His greeting this time was different from before. "Auntie Fei will accept your gift. This is Auntie Fei's gift to you." Wu Lingfei took out a dark gray crystal and handed it to Night Sorrow. "Aunt Fei, what is this?" Night Sorrow didn't refuse and took the gray crystal. This was Wu Lingfei's greeting gift, so it wouldn't be appropriate if he didn't accept it. "This is a spatial crystal. It's different from the spatial crystals used by teleportation arrays. The energy in this spatial crystal can be absorbed to cultivate. Your bloodline talent contains spatial power. Try absorbing this energy to increase the strength of your bloodline talent." Wu Lingfei explained to Yi Shan. "That's right," Wu Lingfei explained to Yi Shan. "Then I'll give it a try when I get back. Auntie Fei, this is my gift to you." Night Sorrow took out 2 bottles of Origin Spirit Liquid and handed them to Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei took it and opened the bottle to take a look. This is a water attribute spiritual liquid. It's very inclusive and suitable for all cultivators. However, it's the same for me if I use spirit stones to cultivate. You can keep this. Auntie Fei, please accept it. Also, you said that you need spirit stones to cultivate. I still have spirit stones here, Night Sorrow said. Haha. You're quite generous, but there are some things you don't understand. Auntie Fei's cultivation uses high-grade spirit stones, or even top-grade spirit stones. If I were to use your little bit of wealth, it would probably be used up in a few days. Love go little say Wu Lingfei said with a smile. She liked Yi Shang's attitude and personality of, "If you treat me well, I'll treat you well." I do have some top-grade spirit stones. Night Sorrow waved his hand and 100 top-grade spirit stones appeared in front of Wu Lingfei. "So many, where did you get so many top-grade spirit stones?" Wu Lingfei looked at the pile of top-grade spirit stones in astonishment. "For most new chapters up G%, I got them in a different space. I dug them out from the water attribute spiritual stone," Night Sorrow said. Top-grade spirit stones have always been extremely rare. Even if you use a high proportion of high-grade spirit stones to exchange, you can't get them. But you took out so many at once. Quickly put them away, Auntie Fei can't accept them. Wu Lingfei shook her head and said. Auntie Fei, please accept them. I still have some. Last time, I really got a lot of them. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Wu Lingfei thought about it and put away the spirit stones. After seeing you, Auntie Fei's path seems to be a lot smoother. First of all, the pain that tormented Auntie Fei for a long time has been solved. The bottleneck that has troubled Auntie Fei for countless years has also been loosened. It seems that I can cross it at any time. Is this fate? Love go little say ku, Auntie Faye's words are too serious. Night Sorrow said with a shake of his head. You have a lot of treasures now, so you have to be careful. As for your spirit sea, Auntie Faye doesn't know what's going on. You have opened your spirit sea, so you can use your spirit sea to study it. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and reminded him again. Night Sorrow understands. Then I'll go back first. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that Wu Lingfei was sincerely looking out for him and had high hopes for him. Wu Lingfei waved her arm and sent another mysterious jade spirit chi into Night Sorrow's body. You can't refine this spirit chi. With this spirit chi, Auntie Faye can find you at any time. Night Sorrow nodded embarrassedly because he had already refined 2 mysterious jade spirit chi from Wu Lingfei. Then Night Sorrow rode Tianyu back to Qingxin Courtyard. Inside Qingxin Courtyard, Ho Jian and the others were chatting with Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Captain is back. Where did that lord take you? Why did it take so long? Nan Liyue asked. We went to see a lord. The 4 of you can stay here with me for a few days. Night Sorrow sat down and said. That's for sure. We don't have to worry about the Dark Island. However, with so many dark creatures appearing, there will probably be missions issued. Ho Jian said. Then we'll accept missions if there are any. Yang Lei poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow and said. Ninth Senior Sister, I'm worried that you and Big Sister Chiyu won't be able to accept the internal missions of Tianji Tower. Lei Zheng said. I'm sorry, Ninth Senior Sister. I'm also an inspector of Tianji Tower. Yang Lei took out her inspector token and waved it. Ho Jian and the others were all from Tianji Tower. They were at least inspectors, so there was no need to hide it. Ninth Senior Sister, I, Lei Zheng, underestimated you. Isn't it boring for Big Sister Chuyu to stay here alone? Lei Zheng looked at Sikong Chuyu. I really don't want to hurt you, but I can only apologize. Sikong Chuyu also took out his inspector token. How are you blind? You're blind. Nan Liyue said with a laugh. Okay. I admit that I'm blind. Lei Zheng rubbed his forehead. Ninth Senior Sister, I have a gift for you. Night Sorrow took out the beast-taming crystal that contained the black-feathered eagle and released it. After the black-feathered eagle came out, it circled in the air and landed in front of Night Sorrow. A rank 5 dark attributed flying demonic beast? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow in shock. Yes, do you like it? Night Sorrow asked. Handsome, of course I like it. How can I not like it? Yang Lei said excitedly. Night Sorrow nodded and pulled Yang Lei in front of him. He then communicated with the black-feathered eagle. First, he told the black-feathered eagle about his relationship with Yang Lei, proving that he didn't abandon it and that they would fight side by side in the future. After that, he passed the beast-taming crystal to Yang Lei. Yang Lei held the beast-taming crystal and patted the black-feathered eagle's head. Her eyes were filled with joy. It's good that you like it. Communicate with it more, and you'll be able to use it like an extension of your arm. It won't be a problem for it to reach the peak of rank 5. All it needs is time and energy. Night Sorrow said. Very good, now 9th Senior Sister's green eagle can be sent to retire. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. During this period of time, Yang Lei's mount couldn't keep up with the pace. Sikong Chuyu also saw it. Now that this problem was solved, she was also happy. 9th Senior Sister, arrange a guest room for them. I'm going to cultivate. There's something I need to figure out. Night Sorrow nodded to Yang Lei and walked towards the secret cultivation room in the main building. He's already at the peak of the spirit severing stage, and he still wants to cultivate. How annoying. Nan Liyue said with some emotion. Chapter 397. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow wanted to see if the space crystal given to him by Wu Ling concubine had any effect. Sitting in the training room, Night Sorrow held the space crystal with both hands and began to cultivate. There was a difference between spirit stones and crystals. The energy contained in spirit stones was also different. Spirit stones contained ordinary energy, which was relatively common. However, crystals with attributes were extremely rare. Night Sorrow knew a little about elemental knowledge. He knew that spatial elemental crystals were extremely rare. The space crystal given to him by Wu Ling concubine was the size of 2 fists. It was much bigger than a top-grade spirit stone. Holding the crystal with both hands, Night Sorrow circulated the myriad Tao Tome's energy and true qi and began to cultivate. Night Sorrow then realized that the myriad Tao Tome's energy and true qi could not trigger a reaction from the space crystal. After stopping his cultivation, Night Sorrow thought for a moment. He withdrew the myriad Tao Tome's energy and stopped circulating his true qi. Then, he activated the bloodline talent energy under the dragon bone and used it to touch the space crystal. As Night Sorrow circulated the bloodline talent energy to his hands, the space crystal reacted. Pure energy entered Night Sorrow's body. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao say www.aichuxs. When the energy entered his body, Night Sorrow quickly used his bloodline talent energy to refine it. Since he could absorb it, refining it was naturally not a problem. Night Sorrow's bloodline talent energy smoothly refined the energy that entered his body. After that, Night Sorrow's cultivation became easier. His true qi and the myriad Tao Tome's cultivation conflicted with the absorption of space energy. Night Sorrow cultivated his soul power, cultivating his soul power and absorbing space energy at the same time. After cultivating for an hour, Night Sorrow realized that his bloodline talent energy was reaching saturation, so he stopped cultivating. After looking at the slightly lighter color of the space crystal, Night Sorrow started to use the energy of the first bloodline to touch the second energy point. As Night Sorrow controlled his bloodline talent energy to bombard the second energy point, the second bloodline talent energy point was activated, and the energy of the first energy point merged together. This allowed Night Sorrow's bloodline talent to grow stronger. Next, Night Sorrow took the space crystal and continued to cultivate. After cultivating for an entire day, Night Sorrow went out. His second bloodline talent had also been strengthened. At the very least, the amount of bloodline talent he could use now was at least twice as much as before. A portion of the space crystal's energy was consumed. In the courtyard, Night Sorrow stretched his neck and used the 2 bloodline talents to cast spatial rend. Hiss! A spatial energy slash was sent out, cutting a bluestone statue in the courtyard in half. Moreover, there was no violent sound. Night Sorrow waved his arm excitedly. The power of this spatial rend was too fierce. It was almost impossible to defend against because it was too fast and hidden. What are you doing? Ah! Yang Lei walked out of her loft and was stunned when she saw the stone sculpture that had been split in half. Where are the others? Night Sorrow used his soul power to investigate. He did not find Ho Jian and the others in the house. They went out to play. They are not people who can stay quietly, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow and Yang Lei chatted. Soon, Sikong Chuyu came out. The 3 of them drank tea and chatted. Night Sorrow was in a good mood. He had solved the problem of 2 bloodline talents. Next, he could study the third one. Unfortunately, the space crystal's energy consumption was relatively fast. After strengthening 2 bloodline talents, half of the space crystal's energy had been consumed. According to this consumption and progress, Night Sorrow felt that he could strengthen 1 more point. The 4th point could not be completed. After drinking a few cups of tea, Night Sorrow began to cultivate his spear art. He continued to increase the conversion speed of the myriad Tao's treasured tome and his qi, as well as the conversion speed of the 3 types of energy. After fighting for a while, Night Sorrow found that these 2 skills were very important in battle. After Night Sorrow cultivated for a while, Ho Jian and the others returned. Come, I bought a pair of rare game today. It's a 7-color pheasant. This thing is very rare. It tastes very good. I will be the chef today, Lei Zhang said as he carried a pair of 7-color pheasants. Yi Shang nodded with a smile. He was more interested in birds and wild game. After everyone drank some wine, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. He wanted to stimulate the bloodline talents as soon as possible. Currently, he was absorbing the space crystal's energy to cultivate. He could not cultivate both his chi and the myriad Daos treasured tome. His chi was fine. He could condense it on his own. However, Night Sorrow could not afford to delay the cultivation of the myriad Daos treasured tome. Night Sorrow sat down cross-legged. He did not directly absorb the spatial energy. Instead, he controlled the energy of the first 2 bloodline talents to stimulate the 3rd bloodline talent. As time passed, the 3rd bloodline talent under Night Sorrow's dragon bone slowly loosened. After 2 days, the 3rd bloodline talent was successfully stimulated by Night Sorrow. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Night Sorrow then took out the space crystal and absorbed the spatial energy to strengthen the spatial energy in the 3rd bloodline talent. When the spatial energy in the 3rd bloodline talent was strengthened by Night Sorrow, the space crystal turned into a transparent stone without any energy. Night Sorrow threw away the space crystal in his hand and stood up. When he stopped cultivating, Night Sorrow discovered something that made him extremely happy. The energy within the 3 innate bloodline energy points could circulate on their own, forming a cycle between the 3 energy points. They began to absorb the energy of heaven and earth to cultivate on their own. At the same time, the absorbed energy rushed towards the 4th innate bloodline energy point. This made Night Sorrow know that it was only a matter of time before the 4th bloodline talent was stimulated. Night Sorrow stretched his waist and walked out of the secret cultivation room. Captain, you don't have to do this, right? Seeing Night Sorrow come out, Nan Liue said. What's wrong with me? Oh, it's my fault for neglecting you guys. Night Sorrow said apologetically. It's not that. You're already so strong now and you're still working so hard. How can we endure this? Nan Liue said with a bitter smile. I've been a little troubled recently. I just solved it. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Captain, you didn't go out. You don't know how serious the problem with the dark creatures is now. Ho Jian said. There's a mission? Night Sorrow asked. No, I just heard that a large number of dark creatures have appeared in Jianghai City. There's also a problem with the defense. The dark creatures have already invaded. It's said that there are even venerable dark creatures. Ho Jian said. Venerable dark creatures? Isn't this going to be a mess? Night Sorrow said with some worry. Chapter 398. Genius 1 second. Remember love, go, Shao. We provide you with interesting novels to read. That's 2 different things. Star Cloud's sect has a grudge against me in Medicine Valley, but the people in that area are innocent. If the problem isn't solved, it will be a disaster for humanity. Night Sorrow shook his head and said. Night Sorrow, it's a good thing that you're not blinded by hatred. We have a grudge against Star Cloud's sect, but we don't need the help of dark creatures. If we want to fight them, we can do it ourselves, Yang Lei said. Then why aren't there any missions? Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. Maybe they don't think we need to do anything. We're the sharp knife, so we have to use it where it's needed most, Lei Bao said confidently. After chatting with them for a while, Night Sorrow rode the Tianyu to Tianji Tower. There was still some distance, so Night Sorrow got off the Tianyu and put on his mask. With the mask on, Night Sorrow went to the Tianji Tower to relieve himself and went straight to the top floor. Night Sorrow saw Yin Shui on the top floor. Lei Hua and Ho Yuan weren't there. You're here. Sit. Yin Shui pointed at the chair across from her. Senior Yin Shui, is the situation very bad now? Night Sorrow asked. That's right. Vice Division Master Lei and the City Lord's mansion's people have gone to those places and haven't returned yet. Elder Ho and the others went to Riversea City. Currently, Riversea City is facing a serious problem. A venerable rank dark creature is invading. We don't know how it crossed the realm sea. Baidu search love go xiao shua www.aichux.com, Yin Shui said. That's a very serious problem. A venerable dark creature will bring a great disaster to humanity, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry. A venerable dark creature won't be able to cause much trouble. The main problem is the source. We suspect that the source of this crisis is the same. It's just that the channel is different, Yin Shui explained to Night Sorrow. What do you need us to do? Night Sorrow asked. There's no need. I'll inform you if I need anything. Let's wait for Vice Palace Master Lei and Elder Ho to come back first. Yin Shui shook her head. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that the current situation was very big, and there were no specific arrangements yet. You should continue to consolidate your cultivation. Don't be in a hurry to advance for the time being. Also, if you need anything, just let us know. As long as Tianji Tower can do it, there will be no problem. You are now the core of Tianji Tower, Yin Shui said. That's true, but I can make an exchange. Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment. He felt that if there were still space crystals, they would be of great help to his bloodline talent. Don't be so polite, just say it. Yin Shui said with a smile. He understood Night Sorrow and knew that Night Sorrow was not a greedy person. Even if he needed something, he would do it through his own efforts or through an exchange. Space crystals. Crystals that contain space energy, Night Sorrow said. All right. I'll go to the warehouse to check later. If there isn't any in Eastern Profound region, I'll send a message to the headquarters, Yin Shui said. After that, Night Sorrow left Tianji Tower. He took a stroll on the street and bought some snacks before returning to his house. Captain, why did you buy snacks? Did you get any information from Tianji Tower? Lei Bao asked. They knew that Night Sorrow had gone to Tianji Tower to inquire about information. Night Sorrow nodded and told them what he had found out. Then we'll just wait for the news quietly. Also, I'm planning to enter seclusion to break through to the void inquiry stage, Ho Jian said. Ho Jian, it's not suitable for you to break through at this time. If it's a different space, there might be restrictions on the spatial passageway. 5th rank cultivators might not be able to do what 4th rank cultivators can do, Nan Liu said. You're right. Then I'll continue to cultivate. Ho Jian nodded. It was common knowledge that spatial passageways usually had energy restrictions. There's a bottleneck in cultivation. It can't be improved after reaching a certain level. However, there's no limit to the improvement of combat skills and combatability. You're all elites of the major forces. You can communicate with each other to improve your strength. Night Sorrow expressed his opinion. Ho Jian and the other 3 agreed with Night Sorrow's idea. Then, they went to spar with each other and shared their comprehension of techniques. Yang Lei had been communicating with the Black Feather Eagle. After obtaining a flying demonic beast, communication was also very important. Night Sorrow did not practice combat. He had been meditating to polish his true chi, cultivate the myriad Tao treasure book, cultivate his soul power, and cultivate his innate bloodline. After a period of hard work, Night Sorrow's myriad Tao treasure book had reached the peak of the 5th level of the consolidation realm. It was only a few days ago that it entered the 6th level. Other than that, Night Sorrow was also nourishing his heavenly fate pearl of nihility. This was his greatest treasure. It could be said that it was the core of a world. Having the heavenly fate pearl of nihility was equivalent to having the void space. GJ. After cultivating for a few days, Night Sorrow's myriad Tao treasure book had also reached the 6th level of the consolidation realm. This Tian Leihua and the other 2 also came to Night Sorrow's house. You guys are all here. This is very good. It's time for you guys to take action again. Leihua sat down and said. What do you need us to do? Night Sorrow asked. I've been to the dark island you've explored with others. We've killed all the dark creatures on the island and built a stronghold. However, we can't solve the problem inside the passage, Lei Hua said. Then, Lei Hua explained the current situation to them in detail. There was a spatial tunnel at the bottom of the pit on the Dark Island. Cultivators of the 5th rank and above who entered would immediately trigger a strong energy rebound. Venerables were even worse. Later on, the Celestial Terminus K sent in a 4th rank cultivator. 4th level cultivators could enter, but they couldn't establish a foothold inside. There were too many dark creatures inside. Those who were lucky enough to escape didn't find anything. In other words, we need to kill our way in and continue to investigate the situation, right? Night Sorrow said. How should I put it? This isn't a compulsory mission. It's completely voluntary. After all, it's too dangerous. Ho Yuan looked at Night Sorrow and the others and said. What do you guys think? Night Sorrow looked at Ho Jian and the others and asked. I'll listen to the captain. Nan Liu said. We brothers will also listen to the captain's decision. Lei Bao and Lei Zheng also made a decision. Same for me. I'll follow the captain's decision. Ho Jian said. I've decided to go. How should I put it? We live in the Eastern Xian domain. This is our home. Now that the Eastern Xian domain is in danger, we have to help if we can. Only then can we have a clear conscience. Night Sorrow said. Since you guys have decided to go, Tianji Tower will also make some arrangements. We will make the best preparations for you. Lei Hua said. Chapter 399. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Opportunity. We're going in to fight for the safety of the Eastern Profound region. Nan Liu glanced at Yin Shui and said. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that, Yin Shui said with a smile. This is a defensive bracelet refined by our Tianji Tower's master refiner. After the energy is activated, it can protect you for a period of time. If it's an attack of the early stage of the Venerable Realm, it can block it twice. If it's an attack of the 5th stage, it can block it for half a cup of tea's time. If it's an attack of the 4th stage, it can block it. However, this energy shield can only protect you for 15 minutes before it disappears automatically. Lei Hua took out a few defensive bracelets. It's a pity that we can't go with our 5th stage cultivation, Yang Lei said with some hesitation. If you want to earn points, you can also go. You can clean up the dark creatures that crawl out of the dark hole and wait for Night Sorrow and the others outside. It just so happens that I have 2 bracelets here. You are the 5th stage patrol of Tianji Tower, so you also need to be protected. Lei Hua handed 2 defensive bracelets to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. When do we set off? Night Sorrow asked. It's up to you. We can set off when you're ready. This time, I'll send you there again, Lei Hua said. Then, Night Sorrow and the others looked at each other. They didn't need to prepare anything. Put on your masks. We're setting off. Lei Hua stood up and said. After listening to Lei Hua's arrangement, Night Sorrow and the others put on their masks. Lei Hua nodded. With a wave of his arm, he wrapped them with energy and left the Tranquil Heart Villa. A moment later, they arrived at the teleportation array. Lei Hua waved his token at the guard guarding the teleportation array. Without paying any spirit stones, he directly teleported them to Linhai City. After exiting the teleportation array, Night Sorrow and the rest discovered that the people in Linhai City were all cultivators. The cities under Dongxian City's jurisdiction have all sent some of their direct subordinates over. Jianghai City has even more people. The situation there is bad, and we haven't found out the reason yet. Several of Dongxian City's Venerable Realm elders have all gone there, so there shouldn't be any trouble. Unless this dark space is an extremely special large-scale space, comparable to a domain, and can produce many Venerable Realm dark creatures. However, this possibility is very small. Lei Hua said as he led the group forward. Night Sorrow and the others nodded, because the possibility of what Lei Hua said was too low. The 9 regions and 18 prefectures were originally a large world. It was the core of many small worlds and spaces. Even if it was broken into the 9 regions and 18 prefectures, it was still a large world. It was not something that small spaces and small worlds could compare to. After moving some distance away from the teleportation array, Night Sorrow and the others took a breather. Leihua's energy wrapped around them and they started flying again. This time, they were flying at the highest altitude. This time, they had to cross the realm sea. Leihua couldn't fly in the area where the realm sea and the energy vortex in the sky intersected. That would be courting death. Night Sorrow and the others could only see the wind and clouds fluttering outside. The scenery changed. About 2 hours later, Leihua and the others landed on the Dark Island. They landed directly on the mountain peak where Yishang and the others were fighting. This place is still fresh in my memory. I was almost killed here. After Leihua released the energy binding him, Leijing shook his neck and said, "The dark creatures are all gone. You cleaned it up so quickly." Ho Jian said with some surprise. "Your intelligence is a flaw. Of course, it was difficult for us to kill them. If a venerable came, he could kill them all with a slap. How difficult would it be to clean them up?" Nanli Yu said with a smile. "Night Sorrow, this is where you guys fought?" Sikong Chuyu asked. "Yes, I was almost surrounded and killed here," Yishan said with a smile. "All right. After we set up camp there, you guys will be in a separate area. Your identities must be kept a secret," Leihua said. "Understood." Night Sorrow and the others bowed to Leihua. Then, Leihua led them to the vicinity of the Black Pit. Currently, the Black Iron Guards had surrounded the Black Pit. The Black Iron Guards were constantly attacking and killing the dark creatures that crawled out of the Black Pit. Leihua led Night Sorrow and the others to a place 2 miles away from the Black Pit. "You guys set up camp here. I'll talk to the people from the City Lord's mansion." After saying a few words, Leihua left to talk to the people from the City Lord's mansion and Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow and the others set up their animal skin tents and began to set up camp. Night Sorrow, Sikong Chuyu, and Yang Lei shared a tent, Ho Jian, Lei Bao, and Lei Jing shared a tent, and Nan Liu'e shared a tent. After everything was set up, everyone gathered in Night Sorrow's tent. "Our identities must be kept a secret. It's inconvenient to communicate with others while wearing masks. In the future, we'll all need a code name," Lei Bao said. "We'll talk about this when we come back. Ninth senior sister, Chuyu, you two must be careful." Night Sorrow looked at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu and said, "Don't talk about the two of us. It's dangerous for you to go down there. Remember, your own safety is the most important. If you can't beat them, run," Sikong Chuyu said. "I'll remember. Don't worry." Night Sorrow nodded. "If you really remember," Yang Lei hammered Night Sorrow's shoulder and turned to take off her mask to wipe her eyes. "Ninth senior sister, don't worry. We'll look after him," Lei Zheng said. A moment later, Leihua brought Qin Nan, who was wearing a white battle robe and a red cloak, to the tent. "Let me introduce you. This is Commander Qin from the City Lord Manor. He's currently in charge of everything here," Leihua said. "Greetings, Commander." Night Sorrow and the others cupped their hands and greeted. "No need to be so polite. I'll have to rely on you guys for the upcoming matters, and I'll have to let you guys take risks." Qin Nan cupped his hands and said. "Commander Qin, these 2 inspectors are at the 5th rank. They can't enter the dark cave, so they'll help you guard it." Leihua pointed at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu and said. "Thank you for Tianji Tower's help." Qin Nan cupped his hands again. "Then when do we set off?" Night Sorrow looked at Qin Nan and asked. "Anytime," Qin Nan said. "Vice Pavilion Master Lei, let's set off then." Night Sorrow cupped his hands and said to Leihua. "FC equals only Z is a genuine copy, M equals other and, all, G is a pirated copy. Remember, safety first. Advance step by step and don't be rash. No matter how dangerous it is inside, as long as you guys retreat, you'll be safe, Lei Hua said. That's right. You guys know the situation. There are tons of dark creatures inside. Once you guys enter, you'll start killing. If you're tired, you can retreat and go in again. We're not in a hurry, Qin Nan added. Yes, we're not in a hurry. You guys fight steadily and surely. Lei Hua nodded. The last time we came, we encountered several 5th-rank dark creatures. There won't be a lot of 5th-rank dark creatures inside, right? Nan Liyue asked. Love go little say ku, there's a lot of them, but it's not as terrifying as I thought, Nan Liyue said as she fought. Pay attention to the 2 rank 5 dark violent bears at the entrance of the canyon. Don't get hit by a sudden attack, Night Sorrow said after killing a dark demon wolf that was attacking Nan Liyue. Yes, Captain, you be careful too, Nan Liyue said. If it's not that serious, then why were there so many dark creatures on the island a while ago? Lei Zheng asked, puzzled. Are you stupid? They didn't crawl over in a day or two. They accumulated over a long period of time, Ho Jian said. We don't lack time. Let's advance steadily. The current situation is much better than last time. At least we have a place to run. If we get tired and can't hold on, we'll return to the passage. I don't believe we can't kill them all, Night Sorrow arranged as he fought. This time, Night Sorrow didn't feel much pressure because he had nothing to worry about. He had a place to retreat and a solid safety point. If he couldn't hold on, he could retreat and come back again. After fighting for half an hour, Night Sorrow noticed that Lei Zheng and Lei Bao's condition wasn't good, so he ordered them to retreat. After all, the 2 of them were only at the 6th level of the spirit severing stage. They weren't at the late stage of the spirit severing stage yet. Night Sorrow was the last to retreat to the spatial passage. After returning to the entrance of the spatial tunnel, Yi Shang discovered that there were quite a few people gathered near it. There were 6 or 7 black-armored guards whose cultivation bases Yi Shang couldn't see through. After Yi Shang's group had entered, Qin Nan had arranged for them to be placed near the spatial tunnel. What's the situation? Seeing Night Sorrow come out, Lei Hua stepped forward and asked. Behind him were Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, who were wearing masks, but their eyes were filled with worry. There are a lot of dark creatures over there. We need to kill them slowly. We used up a lot of energy just now, so we retreated first, Night Sorrow said. Good, it's good that you can hold on. The people who went in the previous few times were killed before they could stabilize their footing. Commander Qin, arrange a group of peak rank 4 troops. When Night Sorrow and the others have stabilized their footing, we'll go in and kill them, Lei Hua said. That's not a problem. In the past, the danger was that we were killed immediately after we went in. We didn't know what the situation was. Now that the situation is clear, it's easy to handle, Qin Nan nodded. A few days ago, because they had to be careful, Lei Hua and Qin Nan sent a single person or a group of people to go in. However, they didn't have the strength to withstand the pressure of a group battle like Night Sorrow. They were killed the moment they went in. They didn't even know what the situation was. The main reason was that they were a bit unlucky. At that time, there were rank 5 dark creatures blocking the spatial passage. At that time, the rank 5 dark creatures blocking the way had already charged out of the passage and were killed. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow and the others were able to stabilize their footing after entering the spatial passage. There are still hidden dangers. I discovered 4 rank 5 dark creatures. 3 of them are early rank 5, while the last one's cultivation base cannot be determined, Night Sorrow explained. During the battle earlier, Night Sorrow had discovered that, aside from the 2 tier 5 violent dark bears, there were also rank 5 dark creatures further away from the spatial passage. 4 rank 5 dark creatures. This will be troublesome, Lei Hua said after pondering for a moment. If it's only an early rank 5 dark creature, I can give it a try. However, we don't have the chance to fight it one-on-one right now. Rank 5 dark creatures are very powerful. It's impossible to kill them instantly. If we cause too much of a commotion, the other dark creatures will take action, Night Sorrow said. But if we don't deal with these 4 dark creatures, it will be a dead end, Qin Nan said. The situation is still very difficult. Fortunately, you guys are able to stabilize your footing. We still need to form a rank 4 team. Can you let the others hold off the low-rank dark creatures while you guys lure them over and kill them one by one? Lei Hua proposed a plan. However, Night Sorrow, you still have to bear the risk. You have the experience and ability to fight rank 5 dark creatures. The others can't, Qin Nan nodded and said. Night Sorrow nodded. This arrangement was the most reasonable for now. Qin Nan then went to gather the manpower. This time, she brought a lot of people with her. Soon, a team of 30 late-stage sensory stage experts gathered. In the past, I was worried that the situation inside was unclear, so I didn't dare to let you guys in. Now that the Lord of Tianji Tower has investigated the situation inside, you guys need to fight, Qin Nan said. Lord Commander, don't worry. We swear to fight to the death. The team of 30 roared in unison. Good. From now on, he will be your leader. How should I address him? Qin Nan handed the authority of the team to Night Sorrow. Chapter 401. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Shang, this is our Tianji Tower's Lord Shang. You can address him as Lord 13, Lei Hua answered on behalf of Night Sorrow. Captain. 30 men in black armor and blood-red capes bowed. More. New O/best. Faster. Lord 13, do you have anything to say? Qin Nan asked Night Sorrow. She had long since recognized Night Sorrow, but some things were better left unsaid. I have a few words to say. Follow me in and recognize me as your captain. I will be responsible for your safety and your lives. First of all, I want you to obey my orders and retreat as soon as I say so. Most importantly, you are not allowed to abandon any of your companions, Night Sorrow said. Yes. The 30 black-armored blood robes guards straightened their backs and accepted the order. Aside from Lei Hua and Qin Nan, no one knew that these 30 men were not ordinary blood robes guards. They were a team of blood robes guards secretly nurtured by the city lord's mansion. They were the trump card of Dongxian city's guards and had fought in the battle against the Golden Flame sect. Night Sorrow and the others rested for a while. We'll go in first. You guys wait for a while. After instructing the 30 blood robes guards, Night Sorrow raised his reincarnation spear and led Ho Jian's group in. After entering, Night Sorrow and the others fought with all their might, pushing the battle line forward to make room for the people behind them. As Night Sorrow's group fought with all their might, the space behind them was cleared a little. At this time, the blood robes guards also rushed in. Don't leave the team. Form groups of 5 and fight as a team. Don't advance prematurely, Night Sorrow ordered the blood robes guards as he fought. When the blood robes guards entered, they were shocked to see the corpses at their feet and nearby. So many corpses proved that a fierce battle had taken place here. However, they were well trained after all. The surprise only lasted for a moment before they formed teams and began to fight. After fighting for an hour, Night Sorrow gave the order to retreat. Even though the battle wasn't as intense as the first time, fighting for an hour still consumed a lot of energy. Night Sorrow's team was the last to retreat, and he was also the last to leave. How is it? Lei Hua was still worried. This is a war of attrition. We will fight without any losses, and the final victory will be ours. Baidu search love go xiao shua www.aichuxs.com, Night Sorrow said. Good. If you don't have enough resources, just say the word. The city lord's mansion will do its best to support you. Men, 5 sets of body armor. Qin Nan shouted to the people behind him. Next, an old man appeared. He retrieved 5 sets of battle armor from his storage ring and handed them to Night Sorrow and the others. "Give him the silver battle armor," Lei Hua said as he pointed at Night Sorrow. The manager of Dongxian City's resources glanced at Qin Nan. The people of Tianji Tower couldn't reach the city lord's mansion, so Lei Hua was wearing a mask that covered his signature hair. "Commander, there are spare silver battle armor, but it is for a commander-level battle armor. We can't give it out casually," the old man said to Qin Nan. "Take it." Qin Nan simply spat out a word. The old man nodded and took out a half-body silver soft armor from his storage ring and handed it to Night Sorrow. "Is this appropriate?" Night Sorrow asked as he took the silver soft armor. "It is appropriate. You are fighting for the Eastern Xian region, so you are qualified to use any resources," Qin Nan said. Yang Lei stepped forward and put the silver soft armor on Night Sorrow. She also tied the cloak that came with the silver armor to Night Sorrow. Then, Qin Nan asked the manager of Dongxian City's resources to distribute some elixir resources to them. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow led his men into battle again. Over the next hour, Night Sorrow led Ho Jian's group of 4 and 30 Bloodstrike guards into the dark space. During their next charge, a rank 5 dark violent bear moved and flew towards Night Sorrow. "Brothers of the Black Iron Guards, defend. Ho Jian, you guys block this fellow's retreat. I will deal with it." Night Sorrow took out the 2 sky-piercing spears that he had wrapped around the ice serpent tendons. He grabbed one and threw it at the dark violent bear. He didn't know that this team was made up of Bloodstrike guards, so he thought that they were the elites of the Black Iron Guards. Night Sorrow's sky-piercing spear was very cold. By the time the dark violent bear noticed it, the sky-piercing spear was already in front of it. The dark violent bear clawed at the sky-piercing spear. Whang! The sky-piercing spear was sent flying by the dark violent bear's powerful paw. However, because of the ice serpent tendons, Night Sorrow pulled it back. Night Sorrow then used the sky-piercing spear to launch a second sky-piercing spear. After launching the sky-piercing spear, Night Sorrow's body flashed as he charged towards the dark violent bear. By now, the dark violent bear had already flown into the small circle that Night Sorrow's group had created. If Night Sorrow didn't charge in, he could easily cause harm to the others. At that moment, the dark violent bear landed on the ground. Its 2 claws, covered in dark energy, swatted at Night Sorrow's sky-piercing spear. The sky-piercing spear was sent flying again. At the same time, the dark violent bear grabbed the ice serpent tendons in its claws and pulled them forward, wanting to pull Night Sorrow over. Night Sorrow's myriad Dao Tome erupted with energy as he pushed soaring dragon steps to the limit. He circled the dark violent bear twice, and the ice serpent tendons on his left arm also wrapped around the dark violent bear. The biggest difference between a Tier 5 and a Tier 4 was that one could fly for a long time, while the other couldn't. If the dark violent bear wanted to fight while flying, then Night Sorrow's group would be helpless. They could only passively take a beating. Therefore, Night Sorrow didn't intend to give the dark violent bear the opportunity to fly. After wrapping around the dark violent bear, Night Sorrow pulled the ice serpent tendons tight. He then leaped into the air and wrapped the extra ice serpent tendons on his left arm around the dark violent bear's neck. He then turned around and stepped on the dark violent bear's waist with his right foot, while his left foot stepped on the dark violent bear's back, tightening the ice serpent tendons around its neck. With Night Sorrow's strength, the dark violent bear suffered. The ice serpent tendons were very thin, and they directly wrapped around its neck. This made it impossible for the dark violent bear to grab the ice serpent tendons and release its neck. Night Sorrow let out a low roar as he used his left arm to pull the ice serpent tendons tightly. He then waved the reincarnation spear with his right hand and thrust it into the dark violent bear's back. At this moment, the dark violent bear had just loosened the ice serpent tendons around its neck. Night Sorrow let out a low roar as the reincarnation spear pierced 2 feet into the dark violent bear's body. He exerted a second force with his right arm, and half of the reincarnation spear's body was thrust into the dark violent bear's heart. Retreat. Retreat steadily. Night Sorrow gave the order to retreat. At the same time, the vibration energy on the reincarnation spear exploded, shattering the dark violent bear's heart. He then leaned on the dark violent bear's back and used his shoulder to lift the struggling dark violent bear up. He then rotated his body to block the incoming dark creatures. Chapter 402. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Evil creature, you're courting death. With a low roar, a blade light slashed towards Night Sorrow. Love go little say W, chew, stop. A figure stood in front of Night Sorrow and blocked the blade light with a wave of his hand. Look carefully. Can't you tell if it's a man or a beast? Night Sorrow raised the violent bear and roared furiously. He was a little angry that he had almost been killed by one of his own. Sorry, I only saw a violent bear coming out. I didn't see anyone, the middle-aged man said apologetically. All right, Lord 13, don't be angry. This fellow is too big. If you don't pay attention, you won't be able to see anyone below, Chin Nan, who had blocked the blade for Night Sorrow, said. Night Sorrow exerted force on his shoulder and threw the struggling violent bear to the ground. With a shake of his right hand, he pulled out his reincarnation spear. Men, drag this fellow away. We'll have an extra meal tonight. Leave the good ingredients for Lord 13. Chin Nan waved his hand at the black armored guard. The black iron guard came over and handed the ice flood dragon tendon to Yishang. Several people carried the dark violent bear and left. This dark violent bear was more than 6 meters tall and weighed close to 20,000 pounds. Yishang could carry it and run by himself, but the others couldn't. You're really brutal. You killed a Class 5, Class 2 violent bear just like that. I also thought that a dark demonic beast had rushed out, Chin Nan said with a smile. This fellow is a little stupid. I got lucky. Brothers, rest up. We won't go out today, Night Sorrow said as he looked at the sky. Yes. The 30 Blood Strike guards roared in unison. Night Sorrow and the others returned to their tents to rest. They had been fighting at a high intensity for the entire day, so they were tired. Sikong Chuyu brewed tea for Night Sorrow and the others. Leader, right now, only the Tier 5 dark creatures pose a threat to us, Ho Jian said. Don't worry. If we can't win, we'll run back. If we can't win, we'll run. We still have the defensive bracelets, so we won't be in too much danger, Night Sorrow said. After chatting for a while, everyone returned to their own tents to rest because they still had to fight tomorrow. At this moment, Lei Hua and Chin Nan were sitting across from each other in the largest tent. That fellow is indeed powerful. I've asked the blood-robed guards, and they say that he single-handedly crushed the dark violent bear to death. He's so powerful that he's practically a beast in human form. Love go little say ku, Chin Nan said. That's right. Today, he carried the struggling dark violent bear out. If I hadn't noticed that the dark violent bear's aura was very weak, I would have made a move. Lei Hua also said with deep emotion. Positive. First issue of edition, it's a good thing that he was able to control the situation. Perhaps this is the value of being invincible among those of the same level. Otherwise, who knows how many losses we would have to suffer to stabilize the situation. However, we can't afford to lose our blood-robed guards, Chin Nan said. The blood-robed guards have no problem fighting against those of the same level, but they're not strong enough to fight those of a higher level. Lei Hua nodded. I feel much more at ease now, Chin Nan said after taking a deep breath. Night Sorrow rested for the night. He didn't care about his blood-stained armor and combat clothes. He left his tent and went to the bottom of the pit. Are you all right? If you feel tired, you can rest for a day, Chin Nan said. I'm fine. I don't know how the others are doing. Night Sorrow was fine, but he was worried about the others. While they were talking, Ho Jian's group of 4 and the 30 blood-robed guards arrived at the pit. What does everyone think? Yi Shan looked at the group and asked. No problem. Everyone replied with a bow. I'll repeat it again. If we go in together, we'll come out together. If we feel that we can't hold on, we'll retreat. Yesterday, we killed a tier 5 dark creature. Today, we'll probably fight another battle, so the danger is relatively high. Everyone, be careful. Night Sorrow strapped 2 sky-piercing spears with ice flood dragon tendons to his waist. Rest assured, Captain, the blood-robed guards growled. Okay, I'll go in and take a look. You guys wait here. I'll enter in a moment. Ho Jian, you guys wait here as well, Night Sorrow said. Holding the reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow entered the spatial tunnel. As soon as he exited the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow discovered that he couldn't move. A man with a pair of curved horns hovered above the battlefield. A venerable level dark creature. Night Sorrow's heart trembled. All the energy in his body erupted as he tried to break free from the spatial shackles. Die. The dark creature's venerable sent a palm strike at Night Sorrow. Bang! An extremely ferocious energy struck Night Sorrow's body. Energy surged on the silver armor and it shattered after 2 vibrations. Following that, Night Sorrow's robe shattered, leaving behind only his pants and the shining ice silk robe. At the crucial moment, Night Sorrow activated the ice silk robe's defense. Even so, Night Sorrow still spat out a mouthful of blood. Sensing that the binding force on his body had disappeared, Night Sorrow slapped the ground with his left hand and rolled back into the spatial tunnel. The venerable level dark creature was too powerful. Night Sorrow was no different from an ant in front of it. After entering the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow ignored his injuries and rushed out in a flash. This was because he saw the dark creature flying towards the spatial tunnel. After exiting the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow shouted, "Retreat! Retreat quickly! The venerable level dark creature is charging over." Lei Hu waved his arm and energy wrapped everyone out of the pit. At the same time, energy circulated around Qin Nan's body and a flexible sword appeared in his hand. At this time, the man with the curved horn also appeared at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. The moment he appeared, Qin Nan's sword slashed towards him and the spatial tunnel. Qin Nan's sword slashed out. Wherever the sword light passed, black spatial cracks would appear. After being attacked, the middle-aged man with the curved horn flew into the sky. Guard this place. Don't let other dark creatures come out and mess things up. I'll go kill it. Qin Nan shouted. Following Qin Nan's words, a man wearing silver armor blocked the entrance of the spatial tunnel. This was a commander of the Black Iron Guards. The fact that the black energy in front of the spatial tunnel was imprisoned meant that he was also a venerable level cultivator. Qin Nan rose into the air and confronted the dark creature. If you don't come out, I won't be able to go in. If you dare to come out, then die. Qin Nan's body flashed as he rushed towards the dark creature. It's dead. 13, are you okay? At this time, Lei Hu looked at Night Sorrow beside him. I was almost in trouble. Night Sorrow said as he wiped the blood that flowed down from his mask to his chin. It's good that you're fine. Your injuries can be healed. As long as you're alive. Lei Hu was relieved after glancing at Night Sorrow. When he saw Night Sorrow vomiting blood and rolling out, Lei Hu was really shocked. Captain, where are your clothes? Ho Jian looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Chapter 403. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow could only see the rolling energy in the sky. He couldn't see anything else. Love go little say W. Chu, don't worry, it's at the early stage of the venerable realm. It's not Commander Qin's match at all. The battle will end soon. I didn't expect there to be a venerable dark creature here, Lei Hu said. Lei Hu was a little scared. Night Sorrow had really escaped death this time. Under the confinement of a venerable, it was impossible for a rank 4 cultivator to break free. It was really rare for Night Sorrow to be able to escape. With a miserable roar, the battle ended, and the sky became clear again. Looking carefully, Night Sorrow saw that Qin Nan's soft sword was stabbed into the dark creature's head. Half of the sword tip was sticking out from the back of the head. Snorting coldly, Qin Nan retreated a distance. With a wave of his arm, energy wrapped around the dark creature's body and landed on the ground. Bastard! I can't wait for you to come out and die. 13. Is there anything wrong? Qin Nan dragged the dark creature's body to Night Sorrow. I'm fine. My internal organs were shaken a little. Night Sorrow reached out and took off a piece of silver armor from his shoulder. A rank 5 silver armor shattered and you're fine. No one can do this except for you. Qin Nan looked at the silver armor fragment that Night Sorrow threw away and then looked at the ice silk soft clothes on Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow, is your soft clothes a spirit artifact, ice silk soft clothes? Lei Hua asked. Yes. Night Sorrow nodded. He took out a battle robe and put it on. Deputy Palace Master, this dark venerable gave me some inspiration. Dark creatures have a violent personality. If Night Sorrow can lure them out and we can kill them, the situation will be easier to control. Qin Nan took out his sword and collected the Dark Venerable's horn and crystal core before throwing them to the City Lord's mansion's resource manager. That won't do. There are too many Tier 3 and Tier 4 dark creatures. It'll be difficult to lure out a high-level dark creature. Night Sorrow interjected before Lei Hua could speak. I see. 13. Go and heal your wounds first. We'll talk about entering the dark space after you've recovered, Qin Nan said. Seeing Night Sorrow's ice silk robe, Qin Nan knew that Wu Lingfei valued Night Sorrow a lot. That was because it was her protective robe. After returning to the tent, Night Sorrow drank some origin spirit liquid and began to heal. The attack that Venerable Heian had given him was quite heavy. While Night Sorrow was recovering, Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Ho Jian were waiting for him. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs. Xiaom Ho Jian and the others felt very complicated. They knew that if it weren't for Night Sorrow taking care of them and not going in first, then who knew how many of them would have died today. In Lei Hua's tent, Qin Nan was looking at the fragments of silver armor that had fallen from Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow's defensive power is very strong. The silver armor was shattered and the ice silk robe offset a part of it. That was still equivalent to a mid-5th order's full power attack. His internal organs were only shaken, Qin Nan said. Was it right or wrong for us to send him in? If something happens to him, we really won't be able to explain it to Sir. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs.com, Lei Hua said with some hesitation. After Lei Hua finished speaking, he suddenly stood up. Qin Nan also stood up. The tent's curtain was lifted and Wu Lingfei appeared in a white robe and a golden mask. My lady. Lei Hua and Qin Nan both bowed. Go call Yi Shang over. Wu Lingfei walked to the main seat, turned around, and ordered. Qin Nan bowed and left the tent. Lei Hua reported what happened today and asked for Wu Lingfei's opinion. However, Wu Lingfei didn't say anything and didn't make any arrangements. When Qin Nan arrived, Night Sorrow stopped meditating. Although his face was a bit pale, his blood energy was a lot better. 13. Come with me. Qin Nan waved to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded to Yang Lei and the others and followed Qin Nan to the tent in the center of the camp. Aunt Fei, why are you here? Seeing Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow was very surprised. I felt the profound jade energy in your body was violently shaken, so I came to take a look. Are you okay? Wu Lingfei asked. I'm fine. It's just that my blood energy was shaken a little. I just need to meditate and recover. I can continue fighting tomorrow afternoon at the latest. Night Sorrow said. You don't need to fight. Even if I have to pay a price tomorrow, I will destroy this spatial passage. Wu Lingfei said. My lady, you can't. If there is a backlash from the power of law, you will have to bear the consequences. This will destroy your foundation. Lei Hua was a little anxious. Aunt Fei, I can withstand it. I don't need you to do anything. I will tell you when I can't. Noticing Lei Hua's anxious attitude and knowing that destroying the spatial passage would cause great harm to Wu Lingfei, Yishan hurriedly said. Okay, remember. If you can't handle it, just shake the profound jade energy in your body and go meditate to heal. Wu Lingfei nodded to Night Sorrow. You two go too. Wu Lingfei waved her hand to drive them away. Lei Hua and Qin Nan went to Lei Hua's tent. My lady is a little angry this time. Qin Nan said. Of course. Didn't you hear what Night Sorrow called her lady? Lei Hua glanced at Qin Nan. Then what should we do next? Qin Nan didn't know how to arrange the next battle. Without Night Sorrow at the front, the Blood Strike Guards would suffer casualties if they went in. This was something she didn't want to see. Should she let Night Sorrow continue fighting? However, she didn't know Wu Lingfei's attitude. I don't know either. I think we should follow the original plan. If the lady doesn't agree, she will stop it. Lei Hua said. Qin Nan nodded. She knew that this was the only way. Night Sorrow returned to his tent and continued to meditate to heal. He felt warm in his heart. He knew that Wu Lingfei was truly concerned about his safety. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come over in such a short time. Night Sorrow didn't say anything, so Ho Jian and the others didn't ask. After recovering for an entire night, he felt that his blood energy wasn't completely unblocked. He continued to recover for an entire morning before standing up. Captain, how's your recovery? Nan Liuyue asked. I'm as good as new. What do you guys think? Should we fight or not? Night Sorrow asked. Let's listen to the captain. If the captain wants to fight, we'll fight. Ho Jian and the others nodded. Then let's go to the spatial tunnel and see what arrangements the division master and Commander Qin have. Night Sorrow led them to the bottom of the black pit. Lei Hua and Qin Nan were in front of the spatial tunnel at the bottom of the black pit. The other 30 Blood Strike Guards were also standing in a row. Captain. When they saw Night Sorrow, the 30 Blood Strike Guards cupped their hands in greeting. You're all too polite. Night Sorrow cupped his hands in return before walking over to Lei Hua and Qin Nan. I9 head, why, hair, why, have you decided to enter? Lei Hua asked. Enter. If I can't, I'll run back. I don't believe that I'll meet a supremacy this time, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Chapter 404. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Shao. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow took the black orb and looked at Qin Nan in confusion. Baidu search AI go female sign Shao say www.aichuxs.com. This is a seal-breaking bead. It can break through space. Keep it close to your body. If a venerable uses space bind, use your energy to shatter it and think of a way to escape, Qin Nan said. 13. Don't you have a protective bracelet? If you encounter a venerable's attack, break through the space bind and activate the bracelet. That way, you'll have a higher chance of escaping, Lei Hua said. Understood. You guys wait for me here. I'll go in first. If I don't make it back, you guys can go in. The chances of me getting killed are low, Night Sorrow said to Ho Jian and the others and the blood-robed guards behind him. Night Sorrow nodded to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, then turned and entered the spatial tunnel. After entering the dark space, Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and used the 7-star dazzling moon spear. On this day, the entrance of the spatial tunnel was once again filled with dark creatures. Another rank 5 dark violent bear was also approaching the spatial tunnel. After Night Sorrow fought for a while, Ho Jian's group and the blood-robed guards rushed in. Everyone, be careful. The dark violent bear and the dark blood ape are not a big problem. The undead zombie is the scariest, Night Sorrow said as he fought. Captain, we brought flying swords. If they come over, you can hold them off and use the opportunity to pull away. We can heavily injure them with a wave of flying swords, a blood-robed guard said. That's good. We brothers fight side by side. I don't believe we can't clean this place up, Night Sorrow said as he fought. Captain, you're amazing, the blood-robed guard said with a laugh. After fighting for a while, the dark blood ape came over. It was originally 7 to 8 li away, farther than the dark violent bear, but it was very vigilant. Night Sorrow first sent out 2 sky-piercing spears with ice flood dragon tendons. When the dark blood ape extended its paw, the 30 bloodstrike guards launched flying swords at the dark blood ape. The attack of over 30 flying swords instantly shattered the dark blood ape's protective energy shield. Just as the dark blood ape's energy shield shattered and it was about to attack the bloodstrike guards, Night Sorrow fired 2 sky-piercing spears. One of the sky-piercing spears struck the dark blood ape's thigh, while the other struck its abdomen. The 2 sky-piercing spears were effective. The energy in Night Sorrow's Book of Myriad Tao exploded as his body instantly accelerated. He used the ice jiao tendon to bind the dark blood ape. What he was most worried about was that the dark blood ape would fly. If that happened, there would be no way for him to fight. After using the ice dragon tendon to wrap around the dark blood ape's legs and waist, Night Sorrow held the reincarnation spear in his right hand horizontally and wrapped it around the ice dragon tendon. Then, he rushed behind the dark blood ape and extended his left hand into the ice dragon tendon that was wrapped around the dark blood ape's waist. Then, he exerted his strength and lifted the dark blood ape up. Brothers, retreat! Night Sorrow shouted as he carried the struggling dark blood ape and charged out of the spatial tunnel. Help me kill it! After charging out of the dark tunnel, Night Sorrow threw the struggling dark blood ape to the ground. Then, he used both of his arms to twist one of the dark blood ape's incomparably thick arms and pressed the dark blood ape to the ground. Looking at the dark blood ape that was pressed down by Night Sorrow, Qin Nan sighed. He waved his flexible sword and pierced through the dark blood ape's head. 13. This commander doesn't understand. Between the two of you, who is the demonic beast? There were other demonic beasts inside that were interfering. It wasn't easy to deal with it, so I could only carry it out. Night Sorrow let go of the dark blood ape and pulled out his sky-piercing spear from the dark blood ape's body. He also put away the ice dragon tendon that was wrapped around the dark blood ape. Too savage. Lei Hua lamented. Other than Night Sorrow, he didn't know anyone else who could compete with a demonic beast in terms of strength. The dark violent bear was carried out by Night Sorrow. When it was carried out, although it didn't have much life force, it was still struggling. The dark blood ape didn't suffer any fatal injuries, but it was still carried out by Night Sorrow and pressed to the ground. There's still a rank 5 dark violent bear in that area. Rank 5 dark violent bears aren't the most dangerous. The most dangerous one is the undead zombie whose cultivation I can't see through. Night Sorrow said. If you can't see through its cultivation, then it's at least mid-rank 5. 13. Do you have any ideas? Qin Nan asked. I don't know. I don't have any good ideas at the moment. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said. Mid-rank 5 or late-rank 5 demonic beasts can injure you in one move. You have no chance of fighting them. The difference is too big. Lei Hua said. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He lowered his head and thought. He knew that this was a problem that needed to be solved. Only by dealing with the dark violent bear and the undead zombie would they be able to clean up the space tunnel. Are there any treasures that can injure a rank 5 zombie in an instant? Yang Lei asked. We can think about this direction. However, the problem is that this spatial tunnel is one way. In other words, we can go from the inside to the outside. There is no energy restriction. The energy bodies that enter from our side cannot exceed the limit of Tier 5. The same goes for treasures, Lei Hua said. Everyone is tired. Let's not work today. We'll rest for a bit and fight again tomorrow. Night Sorrow looked at the Bloodstrike Guard members who weren't in good condition. Afterward, the Bloodstrike Guard, Ho Jian, and the others went to rest. Night Sorrow also returned to his tent. He kept thinking about how to deal with the dark zombie. It was the biggest threat. Just as Lei Hua said, if the dark zombie started attacking, Night Sorrow and the others wouldn't even have a chance to fight it. The difference between them was too big. It wasn't something that could be made up for with battle experience and skill. There was a fundamental difference between dark zombies and dark creatures. Dark creatures had intelligence, but they fought instinctively. They relied on their instincts and talent to fight. Dark zombies were either humans or demonic beasts in their previous lives. Even if they didn't have memories in their heads, their bodies still had memories. They could use battle techniques and were completely different from dark creatures. 13. The dark zombies aren't scary. The scariest ones are the dark spiritual corpses. According to the records, the dark spiritual corpses are at the venerable realm. Furthermore, they are much stronger than ordinary venerables, Sikong Chuyu said. I'm not sure what's going on here, Yishan said. The dark spiritual corpses are the evolution of dark zombies. After entering the venerable realm, they gained intelligence and recovered their memories from their previous lives. In addition to their innate talent with the death attribute, they are definitely outstanding among those at the same level, Sikong Chuyu said. So that's how it is. Having the death attribute really does give them an advantage over cultivators at the same level. I hope there aren't any dark spiritual corpses in this dark space, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 405. Genius 1 second remember love go/little. Show.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. Could it be that there are people in this space? Night Sorrow asked in shock. Not necessarily. Corpses and living people are two different things. Perhaps a world collapsed or a spatial crack appeared, causing the space to become chaotic. The land containing the human corpses was absorbed by the dark space. After a long period of nourishment by dark energy, the corpses mutated, Sikong Chuyu said. I don't care about that. Now is the time to kill. I'm more excited now, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Be careful. Safety comes first because the two of us need you to take care of us. You still have a lot of things to do, Yang Lei said. Don't worry, I'll be careful. Night Sorrow nodded. They chatted for a while. Night Sorrow began to meditate and cultivate. He only needed to condense his true chi. What he needed to improve now was the power of the soul and the cultivation of the myriad Tao treasured tome. After this period of hard work, Night Sorrow's cultivation of the myriad Tao treasured tome naturally entered the middle stage of the 6th level of the consolidation realm. This was all thanks to the help of the Ice Spirit Blood Essence. Other people couldn't even get a piece of the Ice Spirit Blood Essence, but Night Sorrow had already consumed several pieces during this time. After a night of cultivation, Night Sorrow was called away by Lin Nan. She brought Night Sorrow to a large tent. Inside the tent, 30 Bloodstrike guards were meditating. When they saw the two of them arrive, they all stood up and bowed slightly to them. Because of some reasons, there are some things that I don't want to hide from you. These 30 people are the elites of the Black Iron Guards of Dongxian City. They form the 5th squad of the Bloodstrike Guards. From now on, you will be their captains, Qin Nan said. Don't worry, Commander Qin. I will definitely lead them well. I can't guarantee that they will come out of this incident unscathed, but I will do my best to return them to you in one piece, Night Sorrow said. You're ignoring this commander, not only in this mission, but also in the future. In the future, you'll be their captain. They're one of the more special squads of the Bloodstrike Guard. They're the weakest, but they have the most potential, Qin Nan said. That's not appropriate. Night Sorrow said after a moment of hesitation. You don't have to worry about their loyalty. Their loyalty can withstand any test. You don't have to worry about your identity either. This is also the will of that lord, Qin Nan said. Knowing that this was Wu Lingfei's intention, Night Sorrow was no longer worried. He reached out and took off his mask. Let me introduce myself again. My name is Night Sorrow. I am ranked 13th in my brother's sect, so you can also call me 13. Love go little say Night Sorrow said. Captain, you're so young. The blood-robed guard stared in shock at Night Sorrow's youthful yet determined face. Nonsense. Night Sorrow isn't even 20 years old. Not only is he a member of Tianji Tower, but he's also a member of the City Lord's Manor. It's enough for you to know that. Don't blabber. From now on, you'll be his subordinates. 13, I'll leave these people to you. Qin Nan nodded to Night Sorrow and left. Wu Lingfei had instructed Qin Nan to make this arrangement. Qin Nan was just following orders. However, she felt that it was appropriate to leave this squad of blood-robed guards to Night Sorrow. Brothers, I'm not good with words, so I don't know how to say nice things. Since we'll be fighting side by side in the future, you can look for me if you have any problems. If I can help, I won't shirk. If I can't, I'll do my best to think of a way, Night Sorrow said. Forever. Forever *K free of charge * read novels *, Captain, you're too polite. We all admire you and are willing to fight side by side with you, a blood-robed guard said as he stepped forward. Then let's skip the pleasantries. After this problem is solved, let's go back and drink to our heart's content, Night Sorrow said with a nod. My name is Xueling. I'm the vice-captain of this squad. If you have any problems, just let us know, the blood-robed guard, Xueling, said. All right. Tell the brothers to get ready. We'll continue to fight. Night Sorrow nodded to the blood-robed guards and left the tent. Vice-captain, our captain is really young, but his combat strength isn't weak, a blood-robed guard said. Xuefei. I've heard of the captain's name a long time ago. He's the most outstanding genius of Medicine Valley in thousands of years. Although he's not even 20 years old, he's killed many opponents. All of them were stronger than him. That's enough talk. Get ready to go, Xueling said. When the blood-robed guards arrived at the bottom of the black pit, Night Sorrow, Ho Jian, and the others were waiting. Captain. The 30 blood-robed guards bowed to Night Sorrow. Since you're all here, wait a moment. I'll go in first. Today, we're going to kill that rank 5 dark violent bear and then clean up the area in preparation for the duel with the dark zombie whose cultivation can't be seen clearly. After Yi Shan gave his instructions, he carried the reincarnation spear and entered the spatial tunnel. After entering the dark space, Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and started fighting. Ho Jian, Nan Liyue, and the blood-robed guards followed him in. Take care of each other. Don't be too aggressive. We're not in a hurry. Take your time. It's impossible that we can't kill all of them, Night Sorrow said. Everyone fought steadily and surely in the following battles. Night Sorrow's sky-piercing spear solved the crisis from time to time. Liyue, focus on the zombie whose cultivation we can't see. Don't worry about the violent dark bear. Just kill it when it comes over, Night Sorrow gave Nan Liyue a task. Captain, don't worry, Nan Liyue replied. Nan Liyue, Ho Jian, and Lei Bao were all prideful people. They wouldn't easily acknowledge anyone. However, once they acknowledged someone, they would acknowledge them from the bottom of their hearts. Night Sorrow had achieved this. The battle continued. The dark creatures outside the canyon were replenishing their numbers. However, the replenishment speed wasn't as fast as Night Sorrow's slaughter. You guys hold your ground. I'll go get the violent dark bear. Once we deal with it, we'll be safer. We can't let 2 rank 5 demonic beasts attack us at the same time, Night Sorrow said to Ho Jian and the blood-robed guards. After giving his instructions, Night Sorrow executed the soaring dragon steps. He avoided the dark creatures attacking him and approached the violent dark bear. He was worried that the rank 5 dark zombie and the violent dark bear would attack the spatial tunnel together. That would be an unsolvable situation. In the eastern Xian region, only cultivators below the rank 4 realm could enter the dark space. If 2 rank 5 dark creatures led a large number of dark creatures to block the tunnel, then whoever entered would die. Knight Sorrow's soaring dragon steps were fast and nimble. Ordinary rank 4 and rank 3 dark creatures couldn't attack him. When Knight Sorrow was 3 li away from the violent dark bear, it discovered Knight Sorrow. With a furious roar, it flew towards Knight Sorrow. At this time, Knight Sorrow turned and ran. If the violent dark bear caught up to him, he would be finished. Knight Sorrow turned back and the violent dark bear started to chase. Its speed was much faster than Knight Sorrow's. Chapter 406. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Shao. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Knight Sorrow hadn't used his innate skill, spatial rend, since he had mastered it. Now, he wanted to give it a try. Baidu search love go divided by Shao Shua www.aichux. Koma's Knight Sorrow's innate bloodline energy erupted. The innate bloodline energy flowed along his bones and flew out from the Shindao acupoint on his neck. Look at the original chapter BGTR*. Only the sound of space splitting and spatial ripples could be heard. The spatial rend energy slashed towards the dark violent bear. Chi. The energy directly slashed the dark violent bear's left shoulder, leaving a deep gash. The dark violent bear had sensed danger and moved its body. Otherwise, Knight Sorrow's attack would have landed on its throat. Baidu search love go divided by Shao Shua www.aichux. So beautiful. Knight Sorrow inwardly exclaimed. Even though the spatial rend was only a few dozen meters away, it already had such power. How could Knight Sorrow not be pleasantly surprised? After estimating his innate bloodline energy, Knight Sorrow felt that he could use spatial rend 3 times. Knight Sorrow was very satisfied that he could use this attack 3 times. Although it wasn't a true spatial rend, the killing effect was very strong. Although his mind was filled with thoughts, Knight Sorrow's speed wasn't slow. After a few shuttles, he returned to the spatial tunnel. Help me stand guard. After entering the cleared area, Knight Sorrow shouted to Ho Jian's group of 4 and the blood-robed guards. As Knight Sorrow shouted, the dark violent bear arrived above the battlefield. It continuously slapped at Knight Sorrow, its energy slamming into the ground and creating earth-shattering explosions. Ho Jian's group of 4 was very calm. They immediately sealed off the path that Knight Sorrow had used to return, preventing the other dark creatures from rushing over. The Bloodstrike guards were also well trained, so they weren't affected by the dark violent bear's violent attacks. They all defended their own areas. On Knight Sorrow's side, he dodged the dark violent bear's attacks while thinking about how to deal with this problem. Currently, he only had 2 ways of attacking the dark violent bear. One was the sky-piercing spear, and the other was the spatial rend. Knight Sorrow did not want to casually use spatial rend, so he could only choose to use sky-piercing spear. Knight Sorrow's body flashed as he arrived beneath the dark violent bear. The sky-piercing spear continuously shot towards the dark violent bear. Knight Sorrow moved his body to control the firing angle. The sky-piercing spear was shot straight up into the sky. This way, even if it didn't hit the target, the sky-piercing spear would still fall down and not disappear somewhere else. The sky-piercing spear continued to be flung away, emitting sharp whistling sounds. Knight Sorrow still had 2 sky-piercing spears with Ice Flood Dragon tendon attached to his waist that he hadn't used yet. Knight Sorrow used Soaring Dragon steps to dodge the attack. Then, Knight Sorrow used Sky-Piercing Spear to attack. Although the Sky-Piercing Spear hadn't hit the Dark Violent Bear, the Dark Violent Bear was enraged. It couldn't hold back its anger as it pounced towards Knight Sorrow. The Dark Violent Bear was an extremely violent demonic beast. How could it endure being beaten? After Knight Sorrow dodged the Dark Violent Bear's pounce, he waved his hand and shot the sky-piercing spear with ice flood dragon tendon attached to it. The dark violent bear took a step back, dodging Night Sorrow's sky-piercing spear. The sky-piercing spear stabbed into a huge rock. However, at this moment, Night Sorrow used spatial rend. Spatial fluctuations appeared once again. These spatial ripples were like the surface of a calm water that had been sliced open by a fin. The dark violent bear raised its paw and slapped towards Night Sorrow's spatial rend. Rip! The energy on the dark violent bear's paw was cut open by the spatial rend. Blood flowed out of the bear's paw. At this moment, Night Sorrow used soaring dragon steps. Using the sky-piercing spear stuck in the huge rock as a base, he started to entangle the dark violent bear. Brothers, use your flying swords to meet it head-on. Night Sorrow used the ice flood dragon tendon to entangle the dark violent bear twice. Then, he pulled out the sky-piercing spear stuck in the huge rock and charged towards the dark violent bear's back. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the 30 members of the blood-robed guards shot their flying swords at the dark violent bear's chest. The dark violent bear roared. The energy on its body surged, sending the flying swords of the blood-robed guards flying. At this moment, Night Sorrow stabbed the sky-piercing spear into the dark violent bear's waist. Then, he held the reincarnation spear in his right hand horizontally across the dark violent bear's back. The energy of the myriad Tao tome in his body erupted as he pushed the dark violent bear forward. The dark violent bear tried to resist, but Night Sorrow's strength was too great. It couldn't withstand it. Furthermore, its waist had been hit, so it was in too much pain. It could only follow Night Sorrow's strength and charge forward. As Night Sorrow pushed the dark violent bear towards the spatial passageway, he shouted, "Brothers, help me pick up the sky-piercing spear. Let's retreat." After Night Sorrow pushed the dark violent bear out of the spatial passageway, he pushed it against the stone wall at the edge of the pit. "What are you looking at? Kill it!" Night Sorrow roared when he saw Lei Hua, Qin Nan, and the others looking at him. Qin Nan walked over and finished off the dark violent bear with a single slash. "You pushed it out just like that?" "Yes." "There are many other dark creatures inside, so it's safer to get it out." "It's easy for it to fly away," Night Sorrow said as he put away the sky-piercing spear and ice serpent tendon. Then, the blood strike guards brought over the 10 sky-piercing spears and handed them to Night Sorrow. "Brothers, rest. We won't be working today," Night Sorrow shouted at the blood strike guards and Ho Jian. "I'll give you more food today." "You're all good," Qin Nan shouted at the resource manager behind him. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and the others returned to their tents. After drinking the tea brewed by Sikong Chuyu, Night Sorrow felt very satisfied. Drinking tea after a battle was a rare treat. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow changed into a clean set of robes, took off his mask, and cleaned himself. Then, he went to Wu Lingfei's tent. "You're here. Take a seat." Wu Lingfei, who was meditating inside the tent, opened her eyes and said, "Aunt Fei," Night Sorrow greeted as he brewed the tea. "You performed well. The situation of a battle can change in an instant. If you can seize an opportunity, you have to control it." The dark violent bear was fighting inside, so there were many variables. "You brought it out, creating a scene of absolute slaughter," Wu Lingfei said. "Night Sorrow understands." Night Sorrow nodded. "Some people have gone through proper training, but their actual control of the situation may not be on point. Some people, although they haven't experienced much, do things in a way that contains truth. This is talent, and you are quite talented in this regard," Wu Lingfei said. "Aunt Fei, have you been here all this time?" Night Sorrow asked. "I should have." "What's the matter? You don't want me here?" Wu Lingfei wore a mask, but Night Sorrow could sense a smile on her face. No. I feel at ease with you here," Night Sorrow hurriedly explained. Chapter 407. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. I'll provide you with some interesting novels to read. I will. What do you need me to do, Auntie Faye? Night Sorrow asked. There are many things that Auntie Faye can't use right now, unless it's a destiny stone. Haha. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Haven't you used a water destiny stone before? Do you want me to give it to you to study? Night Sorrow asked. That's not necessary. Actually, Auntie Faye's destiny stone isn't completely of the water element. It used to be of the ice element, but it later evolved to the water element. However, there's still a chance that it could evolve to the life element, Wu Lingfei said. That means it needs a life destiny stone. This dark space might not have one. Night Sorrow shook his head. It's very likely that this dark space has a destiny stone of life. Destiny stones always counter each other. In other words, if there's a darkness destiny stone in this dark space, there'll be a corresponding light destiny stone. In addition, Auntie Faye analyzed the energy in this dark space. It feels like darkness energy, but it's actually diluted with death energy. This dark space should be called a death space. Wu Lingfei analyzed for Night Sorrow. According to Auntie Faye's analysis, this is a death space. If there's a death destiny stone here, does that mean it corresponds to a life destiny stone? Night Sorrow said. It's hard to say. There are many intelligent creatures here, and treasures can be easily taken away. This is the rhythm of a chaotic world. The appearance of alternate spaces is an opportunity, but it's also a sign of a chaotic world. Who knows which alternate space has a giant hibernating in it? Wu Lingfei said. Hearing Auntie Faye say that, it's quite scary. Night Sorrow said with a sigh. It's nothing. Everything has its counter. There's always a solution. Even if a great calamity comes, there will be people to face it. Wu Lingfei shook her head. After that, Night Sorrow asked a few more questions before returning to his tent. After chatting with Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu for a while, Night Sorrow began to meditate and cultivate, continuing to polish his Jin Qi. Wu Lingfei had given him a direction, and that was to break through to the 5th step in the death space. With a Tier 5 cultivation base, he would be able to protect himself in the death dimension. After all, Tier 5 and Tier 4 were two completely different concepts. With a cultivation of the 5th step and Night Sorrow's life-saving methods, it would be very difficult for anyone below the Venerable Realm to kill him. After all, the defensive effect of the ice silk soft clothes activated by a cultivation of the 5th step would be even stronger. Over the next few days, Night Sorrow and the others kept on killing, but they still didn't attract the dark zombie that Night Sorrow couldn't see the cultivation of. Night Sorrow asked Wu Lingfei, and Wu Lingfei felt that there were two possibilities. The first was that the dark zombie's perception was too low and it didn't notice Night Sorrow and the others. The second was that it ignored Night Sorrow and the others and used the death energy that Night Sorrow and the others produced to cultivate. The first possibility wasn't much, but the second was a big problem. Night Sorrow emphasized to Ho Jian and the others, as well as the blood-robed guards, that if they couldn't resist, they should retreat. After a few days of fighting, the dark creatures near the entrance were mostly cleared out. Night Sorrow also planned to deal with the dark zombie. Before going, Night Sorrow asked Qin Nan and Lei Hua for their opinions. In the end, everyone agreed that they should try their best to lure it out. Night Sorrow pondered for a moment and decided not to bring the blood-robed guards in. Instead, he brought Ho Jian, Nan Liyue, and the others in. If they could lure it out, they would be enough to cover their retreat. If they couldn't, then they would fight. Lei Zheng would look at the situation and call for reinforcements. After making preparations, Night Sorrow and the others entered the spatial tunnel. At this time, there were only a few dark creatures near the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow and the others casually cleared them out. Love Go Little Say W. Chu, you guys stand near the entrance and decide on a strategy based on the situation. If this guy is too strong, then you guys run out. If it's average, then we'll deal with it together. Lei Zheng, go call for reinforcements, Night Sorrow said as he looked at the dark zombie sitting on the side of the canyon. After speaking, Night Sorrow's body flashed and he approached the dark zombie. When Night Sorrow was 2 li away from the dark zombie, it stood up. Since there's no more fighting, then you can all die. The dark zombie roared and rushed forward, closing the distance between it and Night Sorrow. It brandished its blade and slashed at Night Sorrow. Run! Night Sorrow shouted and turned around to run. When he saw the dark zombie's blade, Night Sorrow knew that the strength of this attack had already exceeded the range of a rank 5 attack. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Ho Jian and the others quickly retreated into the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow circulated the myriad Dao Tome's energy and poured it into his legs. He pushed the soaring dragon movement technique to the limit and ran towards the spatial tunnel in an arc. Behind him, crackling sounds could be heard. Those were the sounds of the blade lights slashing the ground. Night Sorrow relied on his soul strength to dodge. He could sense the dark zombie's waving arms and determine the direction and route of its attack. That was why he hadn't been killed. Night Sorrow was getting closer and closer to the spatial tunnel. However, the danger was also increasing because the dark zombie's speed was too fast. The dark zombie swung its blade at Night Sorrow as it chased after him. It was only 7 to 8 zhang away from Night Sorrow. While doing his best to escape, Night Sorrow also used his innate skill, Spatial Rend, to slow down the dark zombie's speed. Once the dark zombie blocked the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow would be in trouble. 2 consecutive spatial rends slashed at the dark zombie. Night Sorrow's body also drew an arc as he approached the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow's spatial rends were dodged by the dark zombie. However, it also slowed down the dark zombie's speed. At this time, the group outside the spatial tunnel had solemn expressions. When they heard Ho Jian say that the dark zombie's blade light could reach a distance of 20 zhang, Lei Hua and Qin Nan's expressions changed. This was not something a rank 5 cultivator could do. Half-step supremacy. Lei Hua and Qin Nan knew that this was a huge crisis for Night Sorrow. This dark zombie was very strong. If one did not mention its control over the energy of heaven and earth, its battle prowess would not be lower than a beginner supremacy. At this time, Wu Lingfei appeared at the spatial tunnel. She was wearing a white robe and a golden mask. Her body was surging with energy, ready to attack at any time. Night Sorrow rushed to the spatial tunnel. When he was just 2 steps away from entering, a pressure suddenly descended. Although it was not as strong as a supremacy's, it still affected Night Sorrow greatly. Affected by this pressure, Night Sorrow's body trembled. At this moment, Night Sorrow's Jin Qi and myriad Dao Tome's energy erupted to defend himself. He knew that he would definitely be attacked. Pang! With a muffled sound, Yi Shang's protective shield was shattered. His silver armor was also shattered, and broken pieces of armor flew everywhere. Following that, Night Sorrow's ice silk soft armor erupted with energy, blocking the dark zombie's attack. However, Night Sorrow's body was sent flying into the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow stumbled out of the spatial tunnel. Be on guard. Lei Hua flashed and appeared beside Night Sorrow. He pulled Night Sorrow back a distance. Chapter 408. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Everyone waited for a while, but the dark zombie didn't come out. If this bastard doesn't come out, then wouldn't I have suffered this for nothing? Night Sorrow said as he took off his tattered robe. GQ's latest, Chapter P and Y Section Z, Y7. This guy is too smart. It doesn't know the situation here, so it doesn't want to take the risk, Qin Nan said. Then what should we do? If it keeps blocking the spatial passageway, then we won't be able to do anything, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry. There's nothing that can't be solved. Commander Qin, guard this place. Don't let it suddenly come out and hurt people. Wu Lingfei said. She waved her arm and brought Night Sorrow back to her tent. According to the situation, that guy is a half-step venerable, so he can't use spatial shackles. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so easy for you to escape. Are you alright? Wu Lingfei asked Night Sorrow. I'm fine. Fortunately, I have the ice silk soft clothes that Auntie Fei gave me. Otherwise, I would really be finished. 2 of the protective silver armors were destroyed by me. Night Sorrow patted his chest, but when he saw his bare shoulders, he quickly took out a robe and put it on. Let Aunt Fei think about this matter and feel that it is impossible to not get this fellow out. Don't talk about you guys being at the peak of the 4th order. Even if you guys were at the peak of the 5th order, you would not be a match for that fellow. Wu Lingfei opened her mouth and said. That's right, Wu Lingfei said. Auntie Fei, everyone has seen the situation today. This fellow has no intention of coming out. Night Sorrow said. That's because there's no reason for it to come out. If there is, then it will definitely come out. This thing will definitely be useful to it. Wu Lingfei took out a black crystal and threw it to Night Sorrow. Auntie Fei, what is this? Night Sorrow held the black crystal and asked. Death crystal, Auntie Fei got it before. This thing has never been useful, but now it is. Just keep it in your bosom. It will definitely sense it and chase after you. Wu Lingfei said. Then I'll try again later. Night Sorrow nodded. Don't worry, just tease it. As long as it comes out, it will definitely die. If it doesn't come out, once it evolves into a dark spirit corpse, it will have the memories of its past life. It will be even more troublesome, just like a human cultivator. At that time, it will be even smarter, said Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow nodded and returned to his tent. Ho Jian and the others were still in Night Sorrow's tent. Are you okay? Sikong Chuyu asked. It's nothing. I was just unlucky enough to be bombed again. I'll rest for a day and deal with it tomorrow, Night Sorrow said as he rubbed his shoulder. Although most of the attack was blocked by the ice silk soft clothes, it still hurt a little. Captain, that guy is a half-step martial saint. Why are you still going to take care of him? Have you been beaten, silly? Nan Liue asked. I didn't make it clear. I plan to get it out and let someone else kill it. Love go little say Night Sorrow said. It's obviously a smart guy. It won't come out easily, Yang Lei said. Wolves will always eat meat. It just depends on the size of the meat. You don't have to worry, Night Sorrow said. A moment later, Lei Hua and Qin Nan came. Qin Nan brought another set of silver soft armor. Give it back to me. I've already broken 2 sets. Let's just forget about it. Yi Shan was a little embarrassed. Night Sorrow knew that this silver soft armor was very valuable. It was a 5th rank defensive armor. It was very difficult for a 5th rank cultivation to break it. When he wore it, it was broken twice, both by martial saints and half-step martial saints. Take it. If you didn't carry it, who knows how many people would have died. Those 2 sets of soft armor are very valuable, Qin Nan said as he put down the silver soft armor. Then I'll take it. This way, I'll feel more confident when I go in tomorrow, Night Sorrow said. You still want to go in? That's a half-step martial saint dark zombie. Other than not being bound by space, its strength is no different from a martial saint, Qin Nan said with a frown. I'm going to lure it out. I'm not going to kill it, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then your safety is also a problem. Its attack strength is too high. A 4th rank cultivator is like porcelain in front of it. It will break with a touch. Lei Hua was still a little worried. Don't worry. I won't be rash. I'll play with it at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. When it attacks me, I'll run. When it chases after me, my goal will be achieved, Night Sorrow said. Lei Hua and Qin Nan nodded. At this time, someone called the 2 of them and they left to deal with the matter. Captain, you heal first. We'll go back and rest, Ho Jian said. Then, the few of them left Night Sorrow's tent. 13, who's that woman? Yang Lei asked. She's the Tower Lord of the Celestial Terminus Tower. She's also the senior I met at East Snow Mountain. She was the one who gave me my ice silk robe. Now, I call her aunt, said Yishang. You're really something. You can even do that. Hurry up and rest. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu said. For the past 2 days, the two of them had been patrolling the island, killing any dark creatures that slipped through the net. It hadn't been tiring for them. After cultivating for an entire night, Night Sorrow woke up early. After a night's rest, he had recovered very well. After putting on the silver soft armor, Night Sorrow went to the pit. Night Sorrow saw the 30 blood strike guards in the pit. Greetings, Captain. The blood strike guards bowed to Night Sorrow. Okay. You guys go and rest above the pit. After we deal with the dark zombie, we'll go in and fight together, Night Sorrow said. Yes. The blood-robed guards bowed once more to Yishang and withdrew from the pit. 13, you have to be careful. We'll wait for you outside, Sikong Chuyu said. Her trembling voice showed that she was very worried. A figure appeared out of thin air. Concubine Wu Lingfei appeared beside Yishang. She extended her hand and handed the bracelet of heaven and earth to Yishang. Try not to leave the spatial tunnel. It won't be able to do as it pleases inside. Okay, then I'll go in. Night Sorrow nodded and walked into the spatial tunnel. After entering the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow was very careful. He spread out his soul power and probed the situation in front of him. When he was a meter away from the exit, Night Sorrow found the dark zombie's location. It was meditating about 100 meters away from the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow thought for a moment, then took a step out of the spatial passage. Next, he used his innate divine ability, a spatial rend. Then, he took a step back. The chaotic energy within the spatial tunnel would reduce the effectiveness of his attacks. Therefore, after Night Sorrow finished his attack, he returned to the spatial tunnel to avoid the dark zombie's energy suppression. Chapter 409. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. It sensed the aura of death on Night Sorrow's body. That was the energy it needed the most. If it could obtain it, then it would be much easier for it to enter the Exalt realm. After dodging Night Sorrow's space rend attack, the dark zombie charged towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow waved his hands and shot out the sky-piercing spear with the ice dragon tendon attached to it. The dark zombie waved its blade and blocked twice, sending Yishang's sky-piercing spear flying. It then charged at Yishang. Night Sorrow immediately retreated. He wouldn't fight head-on with the dark zombie because they weren't on the same level. After entering the spatial passage, Night Sorrow returned to the space. For shots in the first round. Seeing that Night Sorrow had returned, the others were on high alert. However, after waiting for a long time, there was still no movement from the spatial passage. How smart. I'll continue then, Night Sorrow said with a frown. Then, Night Sorrow entered the spatial tunnel again. Wu Lingfei glanced at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu and said, You don't have to worry. As long as Night Sorrow stays in the spatial passage, or even stays within 30 feet of the spatial passage, I can guarantee his safety. Thank you, my lord. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu bowed to Wu Lingfei. Thank you for your kindness. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu bowed to Wu Lingfei. Once the other guy enters the space channel, I'll be able to catch him, Wu Lingfei said, full of confidence. After entering the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow released his soul power and slowly probed forward. When he was 4 feet away from the exit, Night Sorrow discovered the location of the dark zombie. This time, it was even closer. It was sitting cross-legged 5 feet away from the passageway. Night Sorrow held the death crystal in his left hand and activated it with his chi. Then, he took a step forward and sent out another space-rending slash at the dark zombie. The dark zombie stood up and took a step sideways before charging towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow quickly retreated. He felt that the dark zombie was serious this time. This time, it was as Night Sorrow expected. The dark zombie directly charged towards the spatial passage. The death energy was too tempting for it. The moment the dark zombie entered the spatial passage, Night Sorrow discovered that he was imprisoned by energy and was being pulled towards his people. At this moment, outside the spatial tunnel, Wu Lingfei's right hand reached out and grabbed at the air. Profound jade spirit chi formed a vortex that rushed into the spatial tunnel and pulled it back. You're still struggling after entering the spatial passage? Come out. With a roar, Wu Lingfei grabbed Night Sorrow and the dark zombie with her right arm. Commander Qin, go kill it. It's trash. While speaking, Wu Lingfei waved her arm and separated Yi Shang from the dark zombie. She pulled Yi Shang to her side and threw the dark zombie into the air. Then she spoke to Qin Nan. Qin Nan flew towards the dark zombie in the air. Aunt Fei, take this. It's not comfortable for me to hold it. Night Sorrow gave the death crystal to Wu Lingfei. Well done. This guy is finally dead. Love go little say W. Chu Wu Lingfei had been worried about this problem. This half-step venerable realm dark zombie was the key. If they didn't kill it, they wouldn't be able to explore the dark space. Qin Nan and the dark zombie fought in the air. After a few rounds, she killed the dark zombie. Qin Nan could easily kill a venerable realm dark creature, not to mention a half-step venerable realm zombie that couldn't use spatial bind. It was no match for her at all. Qin Nan put away the dark zombie's crystal core and handed it to Wu Lingfei. Okay, leave a few people here to guard. The rest and prepare for the second step of the plan. Wu Lingfei ordered. Night Sorrow had also returned to the tent. He was very happy that he had solved the problem of the dark zombies in 2 tries. Of course, he knew that this was due to Wu Lingfei's super strength. He didn't give the dark zombies a chance to retreat or regret. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow woke up early. He wanted to know what was going to happen next. He wanted to see what the City Lord's mansion and Tianji Tower had planned. Night Sorrow went to Wu Lingfei's tent. Lei Hua and Qin Nan were both there. Night Sorrow, the death space is very dangerous. You can go in or not. No one knows what's going on inside. There's also the possibility of encountering venerables and rank 5 dark creatures. Wu Lingfei said. I'll go in. Sometimes, hiding means fear. Cultivators can't be afraid. As long as they live, they will fight endlessly. Night Sorrow said. Okay, but you still have to be careful. You might not know, but one of the venerables of the Star Cloud sect has died in battle. The dark zombie is very strong. The 2 elders of the City Lord's mansion have already gone, so you can't underestimate it. Wu Lingfei said. A venerable died in battle? Qin Nan said with some surprise. That's why you have to pay attention to it. Night Sorrow, after you go in, if you have an opportunity to break through, then break through. That way, your strength will increase a little. Wu Lingfei emphasized the problem of advancement again. I understand. The dark space can't run away. The stronger we are, the stronger our ability to protect ourselves. Night Sorrow nodded. Night Sorrow, the blood-robed guards under your command are currently rank 4. However, their potential is not bad. Take good care of them. As for resources, Commander Qin will allocate them. Wu Lingfei arranged the blood-robed guards' affairs. Then, Lei Hua and Qin Nan left the tent. Night Sorrow, the situation in the death space is more complicated than you think. So, you must be careful. Remember the soul pearl I gave you. If you encounter a venerable opponent, crush it. Wu Lingfei mentioned the soul pearl. I'll remember. Night Sorrow nodded. Then go back and prepare. They also need to prepare some resources and some necessary supplies. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Then, Night Sorrow returned to his tent. After drinking a cup of tea with Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, Night Sorrow held the ice spirit blood essence and began cultivating. Currently, Night Sorrow's true chi cultivation base was unable to increase. He could only increase the myriad Dao's treasured tome and his spiritual strength. The strength of his spiritual strength directly affected the power of his bloodline abilities. The spatial crack attack required spiritual strength to guide its energy. That way, it could attack from a long distance with high accuracy. The cultivation of Yishang's soul power was different from the cultivation of Jin Qi and Myriad Tao Treasure Book. The cultivation of Myriad Tao Treasure Book had the assistance of Ice Spirit Blood Essence, while the cultivation of Jin Qi had the assistance of medicinal pills and spirit stones. However, the cultivation of soul power had to be done step by step. It was not to say that the cultivation of soul power didn't have any supplementary resources. The supplementary resources of soul power could only be found by chance. Whether it was the soul stone or the soul liquid, they were all legendary things. No one could predict what would happen in the death space. Increasing one's strength would increase one's chances. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow went to the blood-robed guards' tents and left them some wine. Then he went to Wu Lingfei's tent. Chapter 410. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with interesting novels to read. My concentration of true chi is still a little lacking. There's no problem with controlling it. Night Sorrow said. Your situation is the opposite of others. Others would first achieve flawless concentration of true chi and then it would be difficult for them to control it to perfection. It seems like your foundation is really solid. In the past, the void inquiry stage was a test if your foundation was not solid enough. If your foundation is not solid enough, it will be difficult for you to reach the 5th level. It seems like you don't have any problems. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and said. My master has reminded me that I can only take 2 pills at each level that can increase my cultivation base quickly. Night Sorrow said. Haste makes waste. Only by cultivating steadily can you go further on your path. You have cultivated your body well. The smoke of essence chi is 10 zhang * 3. 33 m per zhang. This is something that many people can't even dream of. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and nodded her head in satisfaction. The effect of the ice spirit blood essence is stronger. That's why the strength of my body is increasing faster. Night Sorrow checked the smoke of essence chi above his head and said. How's your cultivation of the 7-star brilliant moon spear technique? Wu Lingfei asked. The explosion of true chi can't keep up. Currently, I can only combine 4 spears into one. I can barely combine 5 spears into one, but the power is not as good as 4 spears into one. Night Sorrow said. Recently, he could barely combine 5 spears into one, but the effect was not as good as 4 spears into one. When you reach the 5th level, you will be able to perfectly combine 5 spears into one. When you reach the middle level, you will be able to combine 6 spears into one. When you reach the peak of the 5th level, you will be able to cultivate the 7-star brilliant moon spear technique to perfection. Wu Lingfei thought for a while and said. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. You have done very well. The founder of this spear technique could only combine 3 spears into one when he was at the 4th level. He only managed to achieve perfection when he reached the venerable realm. Wu Lingfei shook her head and said. She was worried that Night Sorrow would give her too much pressure. Night Sorrow's cultivation base is a little low. I can't share your burden. Night Sorrow said apologetically. Don't say that. What are others like when they are 20 years old? What efforts have they made for the Eastern Xian region? You're already very good. If you continue like this, you'll be a banner of the Eastern Xian region in the future, said Wu Lingfei. I will do my best. Night Sorrow nodded. After chatting with Wu Lingfei for a while and gaining some knowledge, Night Sorrow returned to his tent and continued cultivating. After 3 days of quiet cultivation, it was time for Night Sorrow and the others to set off. Night Sorrow, Ho Jian, Lei Bao, and the 30 Bloodstrike guards arrived at the spatial tunnel. Qin Nan had the City Lord's Mansion's resource manager distribute some resources to Night Sorrow and the others. After you go in, you must advance steadily. Don't be rash. Safety comes first, Qin Nan said. Andi Fei, 9th senior sister, Chu Yu, we are going in. You don't have to worry. I entered the Void Fiend space when I was in core condensation. Now that I am at the peak of spirit severing stage, some difficulties will be easier to solve. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Wu Lingfei and comforted Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Then, he led the others into the death space. Everyone, confirm your position when you advance. If you get separated, you can all return. Also, I'll make some arrangements. The Bloodstrike Guard's vice captain, Xueling, will be in charge of the team if I'm not around. We'll go to Tianjin Tower and form a 5-man team. Ho Jian will be the vice captain. Night Sorrow made a series of arrangements. Then, the group began to advance. As they advanced, the battle began. There were many dark creatures in the death space. In a day's time, Yi Shang's group had advanced 100 kilometers before setting up camp. Everyone, work hard. If you have an opportunity to break through, let us know in advance. If you have the strength to break through, then break through. We have enough confidence, said Night Sorrow after setting up camp. He then set up a tent and sat down to cultivate. After waking up in the morning, Night Sorrow found a few people reporting to him that their companions were breaking through. During this period of time, some people in the team had been suppressing their cultivation. They were worried that they wouldn't be able to enter the spatial tunnel if they broke through. Now that they had decided to stay in the death space permanently, there was no need to suppress their cultivation. Ho Jian was also breaking through. This was what Lei Bao told Night Sorrow. He didn't tell him in advance because he didn't want Night Sorrow to worry. Emojio Fathi's situation made Night Sorrow very happy. They didn't lack time now, so it was naturally a good thing that they could break through. At noon, the news of successful breakthroughs came one after another. Ho Jian also successfully broke through. Liyue, you're almost there, right? Night Sorrow asked Nan Liyue. I'll be a few days later. If I knew, I would have rushed with them. I wouldn't have wasted everyone's time. Nan Liyue looked at Ho Jian and pouted. It's fine. You can break through tonight. The others also need to stabilize their cultivation, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Okay, I'll go now. What's so great about a rank 5? Nan Liyue glanced at Ho Jian again and entered the tent. I just don't understand. How did I provoke her? She's always targeting me. Ho Jian rubbed his head and said. You're really incorrigible. Captain, we're also going to cultivate. We're all brothers in the same team. Lei Zheng and I can't fall behind. Lei Bao pulled Lei Zheng to cultivate as well. Night Sorrow came to the Bloodstrike Guard's tent and clapped his hands to gather everyone. If any of you can break through and didn't make it last night, you can continue tonight. We'll camp here for a few days to solve this problem. After you're done, you can stabilize your cultivation, Night Sorrow said. After that, Yi Shan returned to his tent and began cultivating with the Ice Spirit Blood Essence. When others reached the 9th level of the Spirit Severing stage, they could only temper their true chi. However, Night Sorrow wasn't like that. His myriad Dao Tome, soul strength, and bloodline power were all improving. Moreover, there was a lot of room for improvement. He was increasing his strength every moment. After 3 days, the team was fully integrated. There were a total of 7 people who had advanced. There were 5 Bloodstrike Guards, and with Ho Jian and Nan Liyue, there were 7 people. The team's strength had increased by a large margin. No one looked down on or disrespected Night Sorrow just because their cultivation had advanced to the rank 5. Everyone knew that no matter who they were, even if they reached the rank 5, they wouldn't be enough in front of Night Sorrow. Advancing meant that there would be battles. After a period of training, everyone's cooperation in battle was very good. After advancing for another 2 days, Night Sorrow fell into deep thought when they set up camp at night. His true chi cultivation had reached the point where it couldn't be condensed. In other words, he could break through. He had the opportunity to do so. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow called Ho Jian and Xue Ling over and told them about his breakthrough. When they heard that Night Sorrow was about to break through, Ho Jian and Xue Ling's eyes lit up. For the past 2 days, they had been suppressing this matter in their hearts, waiting for Yi Shang to break through. Yi Shang was everyone's backbone. Only when Yi Shang's cultivation improved would everyone feel at ease. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.